Hey guys, welcome to another live watch along with me, Dave Shaw, and for his first time on the watch alongs, Alex Carr. Alex, finally we got you. How are you, buddy?
We finally made it work. I'm great, Dave. I'm very happy to be here. I'm not sure if I can stay the whole time. I've got lots of things today. As you can see, in my barren childhood bedroom. I have parents to see and people to see. But happy that I can join for at least a little bit of this wonderful event.
Well, love having you on,
no.
mate. Love
that's where the
you
comments are going to go. I thought Pete was coming in really quickly, and I was bracing myself for...
Pete's on his way. Pete is on his way. So the game has just started. Hello, Jordan. How you doing, buddy? Now, I know we're up against the NFL today, so it could be a tough slog today. Maybe Sundays wasn't the wisest choice, but we'll find out.
Hey, it's the day that worked for both of us, and that means it was the right choice.
Exactly. We got it in. So the Phillies are currently 1 out, 0-2 on trade tenor at the moment. In a ball game, we got to win this one. We got to win this series. September baseball. Every game matters right now, Alex. And after last night's unscheduled loss, I would have had Nola on the mound. I didn't get to see the game. I was out last night, but we should have won that game on paper. I know
you're take a nice big bite
right now,
but I agree. But at the same time, I think that any game right now where you have this Phillies offense the way that it's operating, and any of these pitchers on the mound, even if it is Seth Johnson, as that one unfortunately finds a glove, even if it is Seth Johnson, I think the Phillies can beat anybody at this point. So I wouldn't call it an unscheduled loss, but definitely unexpected. But today, I think they might have a little bit better luck.
They should do. Even with Garcia catching, the bottom of the lineup again. Souza now on the IL. I saw earlier on as well, which is well, it's not ideal. We're starting to get banged up, but that's what comes with September baseball after a long, hard season. Everybody grinding, and people picking up knocks. Is Bryce Harper at the plate right now, who, although he's banged up and bruised, he's still hitting.
He's hitting
relatively well right now.
Pretty great. Yeah, and the other thing that I wanna add to that is, the Phillies are, with Edmundo Sosa going down, obviously he is a much bigger offensive contributor than most of your bench guys, as it were. But with Weston Wilson coming back from the paternity list soon, with Buddy Kennedy stepping up, Buddy Kennedy's been killing it in AAA for the Phillies. So they've got the depth to kind of make this work, and that's kind of what we've seen all season. And now with Seth Johnson coming up, I mean, you're really starting to get to see a little bit of how, this next wave of guys is going to do. That's not, to put Buddy Kennedy on the same pedestal as we're putting Seth Johnson. But, I would much rather these things happen now if they're going to happen at all.
Exactly.
And you would much rather get these guys some rest, a team that was definitely starting to see some fatigue, not a few weeks ago. It's better to get these guys some rest now than it is to, have them run into trouble in the postseason.
Exactly. And Bryce Harper still, in his last 7 games, he's slashing, over 300 average, 0.3 away average. He's just had no base runners to drive in, that's all. As he is out, so it's the end of the top of the first. Alex, Seth Johnson, Tell us about
Yes.
Seth Johnson. Let's go. Obviously, he came as part of the Soto trade. He's done really well so far in the minors. He's looked really, really good. What can we expect from Seth Johnson?
Seth Johnson is a really raw talent. And what's very cool, I think Kylie McDaniel put out a whole when he had the scoop that Johnson was getting the call, put out like the whole lineage thing for Seth Johnson, and it's really cool. The lore, if you will. Seth Johnson was a first round pick. He was, I think, a shortstop in college? Question
Oh
mark.
wow, really? So he didn't even start out as a pitcher.
So he was converted to a starting pitcher. I think he has like I can't remember how many starts he's made in the minors. It's not very many. And so for him to kind of see this, and that's due to a litany of things. That's due to injury. He is coming off of Tommy John surgery. Relatively recently. Lots of things, right? But he's a raw pitcher, and what's awesome is that he's managed to cobble together this arsenal. That I'm looking at these comments in the chat, and things are going great. Anyway, he's managed to cobble together this arsenal that's really, really interesting. So you're going to see a bit of a kitchen sink, but a lot of these pitches are relatively similar, I'd say. He's got like two different ways that he throws his slider. He's got primarily a cutter that's been really working for him at AAA. He was developing a splitter at one point. I'm not sure if we'll see that today, but he's got a really good fastball. Lots of stuff plus things to adore about it, and a bit of a more standard curveball. But I have a feeling we're just going to see him attack guys today. And the one thing that I think you need to worry about when it comes to Seth Johnson, and this, the nerves could take him here, as that first fastball, sails a little high. The one thing that you're going to notice is that he kind of struggles to put guys away sometimes. He has a little bit of difficulty. He gets deeper in counts, and that's kind of what you want to avoid today.
Yeah.
So I think he'll be on a pretty tight pitch limit. He has been in the minors all season, but I think you'll also really
He should know Garcia. These two must have pitched together already in the minors, right? So
they definitely
reasoning
have
behind putting Garcia in today as well.
But that is a little bit of an asterisk because Garcia was hurt for a while down in AAA. So it's a bit of a. They've probably thrown bullpens. They've probably, as you see that nasty cutter, that was filthy. That was filthy. But these two have probably pitched to each other. I'm not sure if they've been an in-game battery before. So that's going to be really interesting to watch. That being said, Garcia was also like the Phillies powerhouse this spring. Had a really rough go of it in AAA this year, but I think those numbers are a little deceptive because he has been hurt. And as you see,
I was looking, I was like, oh, he hasn't. Well, it looked like he hadn't done much so far in the minors, but then I didn't realize he'd been hurt. So it's a bit of a caveat.
My hot take is I think he's going to have a big hit today. I think he will do pretty well against Edward Cabrera.
It would be pretty Phillies, wouldn't it? Everyone who's come up has stepped up in some way or another. So it's got to be Garcia's turn.
But there's walk number one, unfortunately, and that is where you're going to see, Seth Johnson is going to have some trouble here. The deep counts are going to come back to bite him. And luckily with this Marlins team, you've got a couple of free swingers. But as we've seen over, the last day or so, Connor Norby and Xavier Edwards have been really, really good for these Marlins. So you definitely can't underestimate this lineup.
And of course, Mr. Berger as well, who's just
and Jake Berger, of course.
The power that Berger's got, the home run rate is.
But he's the free swinger. He's a free swinger. So
the Marlins seem to be aware of this, aren't they? They're taking a lot of balls here. They're seeing a lot of pitches, seeing what they're making Seth Johnson pitch right now.
Yes, and that is probably what they're going to do all game. But that being said, I don't think you see Seth Johnson go more than 4 or so innings. That looked pretty close. They are going to run on Garcia today, though. You can be sure of that. But they are definitely going to make Seth Johnson get them out. And because they have the playbook here, right? He is definitely a guy that sometimes struggles to command the baseball, but he's dotting that fastball low really well right now, and those cutters have looked really good when he's throwing them. So I'm excited. This is going to be a very, very interesting day
as he
for the Phils.
was right in the corner. That's a
Mm-hmm.
much better pitch from Johnson. He
Yeah.
needs an out, doesn't he? He needs to get that first out, settle the nerves,
Well,
ignore what
unfortunately,
Edwards
that's not going to be an out.
is doing on the. No.
Well, there you go. That's Connor Norby is the Philly killer of them all. He is, yeah, he had it written all over him from the time of the trade. He's really good, and yeah, it's gonna be a tough day for Seth Johnson. He's gonna really need to battle.
It's always the Marlins, isn't it? It's always the
Mhm.
Marlins.
But what's
Always.
what's really good is that, and that was a cutter too. That's just a great swing from Norby. But I think what everyone is starting to learn, because yesterday he hit, I think it was a cutter or a changeup from Aaron Nola. It was something low in the zone. He really knows how to drive that low and in pitch, which is pretty actually unique for a right-handed hitter. So I am very positive that the league is probably going to figure that out and stop throwing him things down there.
Yeah.
But ultimately,
if Johnson can figure it out today, that'd be fantastic.
But ultimately, I am really liking Johnson's fastball from this camera angle, because this is better than any AAA camera angle I've ever seen. From this camera angle, that fastball has a ton of ride. I mean, that thing probably looks like it's coming at you at like 100. It's got a lot of ride, which is what the Phillies really like. And then also, it tunnels really well with that cutter. I think you're primarily today going to see fastball, cutter, maybe a couple curveballs mixed in. And I don't know if he's going to throw that splitter in game today. But we're going to find out.
It would depend on his confidence as well, isn't it? And how he's feeling.
Yep.
Getting his first out now would be massive.
But this is what I've been saying, right? So already he's got Jake Berger 0-2, now 1-2, right? That fastball sailed high, and now he's got to figure out how he's going to put him away, right? So as good as that cutter is, he's got to make.
He needs that finisher, doesn't he?
Well, the cutter is it's a good out pitch. It really is, but he's got to command it well. That's the trouble here. Oftentimes so that fastball also sails high. So already we go from 0-2 to 3-2. This is kind of what the problem has been for him. He's just a little too picky. And when he gets ahead in the count, he doesn't make very competitive pitches that are going to really put a guy away. So ultimately, they're guessing here on 3-2, but he has to deliver a competitive pitch, and that's a pretty good one. Get that fastball inside, jam Jake Berger. He's under it because it has that rising action. So that's good. That's a great first out.
And there we go. First out for Seth Johnson, and that should settle the nerves now. Settle in. 2 more.
And a go Birds from Tino, which go Birds.
Absolutely. Yeah, guys, if you're watching like you were last week, and what a stream last week. What a game against the Jays. That was a lot of fun. So we're going to keep these going. Just 1 run allowed in 3 games in AAA for Seth Johnson. That was a home run, 16 innings pitched. So he has got it. He's got the stuff. He was player of the week. We've seen it from him. Let's settle down. I agree. He was pitcher of the week this past, or pitcher of the month this past month, but in the International League. But that's honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I feel like that's a lucky hit from Jesus Sanchez. I feel like he was going under that, and he kind of swung dead onto it. Yeah, he really did.
Which is funny. He kind of lucked into a hit there, but either way,
baseball.
Well, exactly. I'm really looking forward to, because this lineup, right? It's a bunch of quadruple A, and then some rising talent kind of guys. But it's a lot of quadruple A, right? Like Jonah Bride, I would not expect to be somebody that sees.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, Alex. I've hardly heard of any of these guys for the Marlins.
I'm sure. It's a lot of just names, right?
Yeah.
But that should, in theory, help Seth Johnson out here, right? Like this is a lineup that hitters that he's used to facing, right? Some kind of AAA floater guys. So I'm really interested to see how he now recovers from that Connor Norby home run. And he's done all right so far. That Jake Berger at bat was decent. But here he is, he's behind in the count once again. It's going to be interesting to see how he battles
pitches
back.
already. We need to. We want him to go for. Ideally, 4 innings would be nice, and then get the bullpen.
Yeah, I think 4 is what you're looking for, because if he's going to give about 20 pitches every inning, He's probably going to top out at about 80. There's a good chance for him to get Bride to make a mistake here. So hopefully he can deliver something competitive and make it work.
It's going to be tough for him. It's going to be tough.
There you go.
There we go.
And that's unfortunate. Missed the call there. It wasn't a strike, but I think that's one that you'll usually get given. It was well framed.
Yeah. It's, all right. Well, the double play is in motion, so it's just get out there sitting at 2-0. We'll be happy.
Yeah, I think that's the goal. You already got a visit going, so not the best start, not ideal, not what you would want to see. But I am really the one thing that I am really looking forward to. First of all, I don't think this game was ever going to be about Seth Johnson pitching 4 scoreless innings, right? You were always probably going to have a bit of a let's just say the offense was going to have some work to do, right?
Yeah.
This was never about Seth Johnson pitching a scoreless outing, right? But I am really interested to see what working with somebody like Caleb Cotham is going to do for him here in his short stint as maybe an answer to the 5th starter problem here. I think that is primarily what I'm most excited about.
What are you going to do with the 5th starter, Alex? Because although, granted, we should only need it for a couple more games
like
now.
3 more cycles through the
way it's shaping out.
Much. Yeah, only like 3 more cycles through the rotation they should really only need it for. So I don't think it's really it's not a pressing issue. And if they are losing, every 5th game, they're still that is awesome. That's the same pitch that he delivered to Jake Berger. That's exactly where you want to live if you're Seth Johnson. You want to live on that inside part of the plate, especially against these righties. Like his fastball. So to really quickly explain, hopefully the game plan here, Johnson is a guy that really has good ride on that fastball. So that fastball almost looks like it's rising to the hitter, right? He's going to get a lot of guys to swing under that fastball. So especially if you're right-handed, jamming them inside in that way. There's the curveball. That's the first one we've seen. Except it was 10 feet in front of the plate, but
yeah.
But that fastball is going to be the key here, and this is actually Griffin Conine, scary hitter here. He's a free swinger, will strike out a lot, but you have to stay out of his nitro zone. That's a great pitch. That cutter's nasty. But yeah, you got to stay out of that. So I would not expect to see anything low and in to Griffin Conine here because he will take that for a ride. So fingers crossed. But the fastball should play well here. I also don't think that was a cool changeup. Whoa. Like they get the out, so we finished.
So there we go.
2-0.
There we go. But all right. That could have been worse.
Changeup was really wacky. That was a cool. He used that almost like a sinker. So that was not the split. That was a different changeup entirely. So that was cool.
And the mound visit really helping there. So it settled his nerves, and he got 2 outs and pretty much two pitches. Well, it's amazing what it can do. Just settle the nerves down.
That's the magic of Caleb. I would go as far as to say I think there are some great pitching coaches in the league right now, and obviously pitching is a very different thing than it used to be. Caleb Cotham is emerging as one of the best in the league. I mean, if not the best. He is gnarly. He is a very, very,
I love him, what a guy! Like. Even me when we got to see him in London, I said one of the best experiences I've ever had was in Passyunk when all the coaches came and joined us, and the replay of the Brewers game for the night before was on, and Caleb was just sitting there with a small glass of, I think it was whiskey or brandy, and he was just going through the whole Nola sequence before it happened. He knew exactly, and he was breaking it down. It's one of those moments we just sat there going, this is just surreal. Watching Caleb's thought process, watching what he wants to do, and then Nola pitched one, and I remember Caleb going, no, I didn't like him. I didn't want him to do this. This was not in the sequence, and he got a hit out of it, and it's just amazing to see sort of behind the scenes of what you would never see in just a pitchers coach, one of the best, like we say, Caleb is one of the best out there, and just to see him, just that little snippet, that little insight into what they go through as well, it's just amazing. That was incredible.
The other cool thing is, we just saw the Phillies claim Jose Cuas off of waivers from the Jays.
Right, I saw. Yeah.
That's going to be a really interesting project to look at as well, because he's like a stuff plus darling. I saw a lot of people, mentioning that yesterday. I've always really liked his profile. He's good at limiting damage, or at least that's what the Arsenal should tell us. But that's another guy that
Oh,
he's
that's
kind
a
of
ball.
he's a
Seth
bit of a
wasn't
junk.
getting those.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you really
That's what frustrates me, Alex.
this is the other thing. Well, this is the other thing. Eddie Cabrera is wild. Like Eddie Cabrera does
As
not
you just
command the
saw there, that
baseball
was
well.
practically
He just
bounced up to the plate.
he doesn't command the baseball very well. So I think that the more that the Phillies show some patience here, and that's a great pitch. But the more that the Phillies show some patience here, obviously they can kind of dismantle Eddie Cabrera as they go. But sometimes when he's on, he's gross. He's
Well,
pretty filthy.
he's been getting better of late. His ERA is 5.33 at the moment, but his last 7 games he's been in the mid threes. Last 3 games, again, just the low threes. So he's a
But that's
pitcher
the thing.
who's finding his groove late in the season.
But he just got scratched for his start the other day for he had to go to the hospital for something. I don't know what it was, but he had to go to the hospital for something or other. So the more that, and that's just nasty. That's the thing about Marlins. I can't remember who it is in their development staff. Somebody teaches this ridiculous turbo changeup, the one that Sandy Alcantara has, and the one that now, as we just saw, Eddie Cabrera has. But somebody teaches it, and it's like a filthy, filthy pitch. It's so gross, and their pitchers are like the only ones that have it. And so I would love for somebody to figure out how to teach that to some Phillies pitchers. That would be a nice thing to see.
Here's a man who has been really hitting the baseball so well of late. Bryson Stott. He's 7 for 13 in this series alone. 5 RBIs, 1 home run. Last 7 games hitting .346 average, 6 RBIs, 1 home run. His record against Cabrera is pretty good as well.
And there's another one. Nope, never mind. The liner.
Oh,
So that was hit
right
on a
on
freaking.
cue.
That was hit on a rope. That was crazy. Smashed that baseball and just
Off the
finds a
bat,
glove.
that looked was going to drop in all day long.
Finds a glove.
And all of a
What are you
sudden,
gonna do?
Bills are 2 outs as we get to the bottom of the lineup, which, the Phil's just coming in a bit battered and bruised. No Souza, of course, no Bohm. So Garcia is up. No, we haven't seen much of Wilson.
No, it's Cody Clemens now.
Wilson's
Cody
off,
Clemens
is he?
now. Yeah, he's still on the paternity list, but he has to come back tomorrow, because that'll be 3 days, I believe. So should be back tomorrow.
Although here's another man who stepped up so well recently. Clemens is 4 for 13 in this series as well. 3 RBIs. Last 7 games, averaging .261. The
so
step
good.
up man. I love Cody, and I think
so
he's going to
good.
play a part in the postseason. He will no doubt be on the roster. I think
He's got to be on that roster.
We're gonna see him in games. I think we're going to see him involved as well.
Unfortunately, not today, but that he is somebody that I am a big fan of. I think that it's easy to look at a guy and say they can contribute, they can do this, right? He's a guy that always seems to step up to the moment. And he is so much. I don't care what numbers you provide me with. I don't care what. He's somebody that I look at and I say he's going to give you a competitive at bat every time he steps to the plate.
Yeah.
And I think that that's very important. On top of that, he can play all over. He plays everywhere. Obviously, he hasn't been great at third over these last few games.
We really don't have a replacement for Bohm at third, do we?
Edmundo Sosa is pretty good over there. I won't lie. Although for some reason I feel like he always shows a little bit of a space in the armor when he plays over there. But I like Edmundo Sosa at third, and theoretically he should project pretty well over there. But what I love about Cody Clemens is that he's the kind of guy that, like, the moment's never too big. He's always going to give you that competitive at bat, similar to Weston Wilson, honestly. And I think that those are 2 guys that if they are not beginning the season on the bench next year, I'll be pretty surprised. I believe both will be out of minor league options.
Oh, really?
I'm pretty sure, I might be wrong in Weston Wilson's case, but Cody Clemens, I'm almost positive that he's going to be out of options. So I would be shocked if he does not make it on the opening day roster, primarily unless we see something similar to that Gregory Soto trade where they parted off guys from the 40 man
Yeah.
to deal for some kind of piece. But I'd be pretty surprised because I think Cody Clemens is the ideal kind of utility guy. Not necessarily somebody that can cover your more difficult defensive positions, but he plays the outfield, plays second base well, plays first base well, really well.
Gives you some great at bats.
Yeah,
he's got 16 RBIs this year, which for a player in his role who hasn't seen much game time, majority a pitch hitter as well. And 4 home runs. He's done well. He's done really, really well.
I really think as Javier Sonoja, who I believe is like the shortest player ever to debut for the Marlins. I think that's a factoid that I stumbled upon.
He is. How tall is he?
He's like 5'6", 5'7", I think.
Yeah, I think he's mid-5s, isn't he?
He's really small. Yeah, but this is that I really like to see from Seth Johnson. Unfortunately, that lands as a double, but I really like that Seth Johnson is going to make these guys beat him. I think that he should just be filling up the zone as much as he can, and should be forcing these Marlins hitters to beat him.
Yeah, to be fair, he went out and got that, didn't he? Because that was above the plate.
Yeah, and that cutter had been working for him in previous at-bats, that kind of like elevated cutter. Probably not the kind of pitch that you want to throw to a guy who is smaller. So his distribution of weight can probably get him up there a little easier. But I digress. I think that's the goal for Johnson right now is fill up the zone and make these guys beat you. Or I would hope, because goodness knows you don't need to be giving these Marlins hitters free passes.
No, you really don't. Because
they will get themselves out if you give them the opportunity.
Keep this game in sort of reasonable touching distance as well. We got to with Cabrera pitching and the Marlins bullpen. I still think we have.
There you go.
That's
good play. Good stuff. Right. There you go.
So we needed that. He needed that. That's good. And he does look. I tell you what, since the mound visit, he still looks a lot better.
He's throwing strikes. That's what you want to see. And I'm sure the nerves have lessened now. He's been welcomed to the big leagues. So
if we can get away with not allowing another run here with 1 out, that would be a really good result.
I don't know if they will, but now it's back up to the top of the lineup. Xavier Edwards does not strike out a lot. He's a good player.
He is. I stuck Edwards in my fantasy team actually recently, and then he got injured. But he was on fire before the injury. This is his first series.
This is another one that the Rays kind of let slip through the cracks a little bit. He's a good player. He's playing good shortstop. He's really patient. He has great back control. He's pretty good. I think he will probably be a part of this Marlins team next year. As that is gonna probably score the run, but that lands in a glove. No throw from Kyle Schwarber. That's crazy.
No, yeah, Kyle. By the way, back in the outfield today, Harper DHing.
Yes, I think.
The run scores. All right, but it's a shorter inning so far.
I would trade a run.
The pitch count a little bit.
I would trade a run to keep. I am not worried about the Phillies scoring runs in this game. Or at least I don't think people should be. That being said,
I just never know with the Marlins though, Alex.
But if Eddie Cabrera's on, then what were you going to do anyway, right? If he's on, then he's gonna get
curveball landed nicely.
Yeah, that was nice.
I don't think he was expecting.
That's good stuff. There's that inside fastball again doing work. I love to see that. That pitch is dynamite for him right now. He's getting guys to swing under that all day. And that's what you want to see from Seth Johnson. That is really great.
That wasn't good. That wasn't bad. That was not bad at all.
I don't have the numbers. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I have a feeling that a lot of the contact against him thus far has not been outside of that Jesus Sanchez single. I don't think that the contact has been obscenely and outside of the Connor Norby home run, obviously. But I don't think
that's
that the
3
contact
hitters
has been
he's
enough.
jammed up now and got him to pop as well.
Exactly.
So
Because
that's the
fastball.
stuff that we've seen in the minors.
The other really interesting thing too, that changeup that he used a little bit earlier in the game that had that like sinker like movement. He has a sinker too. So I wonder, I'm sure that's probably why they have kind of put the splitter in motion in the minors. But the sinker and the changeup look really similar, which is kind of cool. I feel like you don't get to see that a lot. That can really work against him if he puts it in the wrong spot. But that's a pretty cool little thing in his arsenal.
It's they say apart from the first 2 batters, really, or the first 3 batters, really, for the Marlins. Although he did jam Berger up, so the first 2 really, where you expected a bit of nerves, and he's not. He's doing all right.
I think he's actually looked quite good. I think he's looked all right. Obviously, 3 runs, not ideal, but I also think that came from one mistake, and then hitting a guy over that hit a double that really wasn't hit all that hard. So, I'm enjoying what we're seeing, and for a debut, right? You can't really expect that a guy's going to come out here and just tear guys up. He's going to be nervous.
Is this a major league debut for him, or is this just a Philly?
This is major
league debut right now. 25
major league debut for a guy.
Yeah.
Let me get the answer for you. I'm going to get the answer on how many starts he's had in his baseball career.
So we did that. We should see JT back for the Rays series starting tomorrow.
Oh wait, Weston Wilson's back. When did he get? Oh, he was reinstated in that. What am I saying? He was reinstated in that flurry of moves.
That's what I thought, because Wilson's had a hit in this series. He's 1 for 2.
That's my bad.
I was like, I wasn't sure if I looked at the wrong guy.
I was conflating.
I'm sure Wilson he's had a hit already this series.
Yeah, he and Buddy Kennedy. I was conflating, I think. Okay, so Seth Johnson in his career has thrown a cumulative 236 innings in his career, his entire career.
Wow.
Majors,
okay.
minors,
right. Wow, that's nothing.
Anything. That is nothing. And he's soared through the minor leagues, but he's still green, right? Like he's a very green pitcher. So, I'm not expecting some incredibly competitive start today, but it's really cool to see him jamming major league hitters with that fastball and executing
for any pitcher. Any pitcher just to come through on the acceleration he has. That's tough going.
Yeah, it's a definitely not an easy thing to do, especially when he's kind of soared through 2 levels of the minors this year, and only had 3 starts at AAA. So, I'm not. Oh wow, that replay! I forgot that happened. That's crazy.
This series has been wild. If you think about all the series that have happened, I know we took game 1 and 2 very convincingly last night. Looked so many players getting banged up this series as well. So many hits, so many hit by pitch. It's like when it's September, it's a little bit unnerving. I'm not gonna lie.
Let it happen now. Let it happen now as opposed to later. And that is kind of just how I think about all these things, especially because for somebody like JT, right? This is a guy his workload has been massive. And I feel like the more that you can let him rest, the better.
Injuries aside, JT's had a good year.
Yeah,
I think he's like behind when JT's back behind the plate, and when he's on a roll, when he's in that hot form he's in, it's huge for the Phils.
He is definitely the aging signs are starting to show. I think he's slowing down a little bit. He's not, running as often or as briskly as he used to. You can definitely see, he's not the same guy that he'd been when he first came to Philadelphia.
No.
But at the same time, he's probably better than 75% of major league catchers. Especially right now, the catcher position is weak in Major League Baseball right now.
Yeah, there's nobody really. Like, I don't watch much baseball outside of Phillies, but even in fantasy baseball, when looking for free agents or catchers around, the points are all pretty low. There's no really Salvador Perez is still going for the Royals. The durability of the catcher is incredible.
you can like rattle off a few names like Salvi, Adley Rutschman's awesome. You can look at like I don't know Patrick. I like Patrick Bailey of the Giants. He's pretty
Giants.
good.
Yeah.
Uh, Will Smith of the Dodgers. I'm kind of running out of names. That's about it.
Yeah, and it really is. And it's a shame that Marchand is injured again, because it would have been a great opportunity for him again to get some major league experience. But the injuries for Marchand is just so unfortunate. So unfortunate.
It was, but that's kind of been a thing for him. He gets banged up, and that's. But I mean, I also think that that's a thing for catchers in general. They are pretty. They're exposed a lot. So, I'm not sure how much of that is just him being a catcher and him being injury prone. But it happens, and there goes Aramis Garcia. So pretty tough start.
At least they've all seen him once. Although
Cabrera
is striking out at a scary rate right now.
It's gross. But this is what he does. Like some days he looks like the best pitcher in baseball. Other days he just cannot find the zone.
And of course, against the Phillies, here he is, absolutely dealing. But I think it is the first time through the order. It's fine. It's fine. I'm not panicking yet. We got here. I'd hate to see Cody go. I think we all would. And he's a fan favorite, Cody.
Yeah, everybody loves him.
We don't want to see him go. Him and Wilson.
And his lineage, he brings Roger Clemens to spring training. So I mean, that's never never a bad thing. That is never a bad thing. So I mean,
Jordan's heading to Philly next weekend for the Sunday afternoon game. That'll be against the Mets. Oh, that 6 games against the Mets in the next week.
That is going to be a very interesting. I think is it 7? It might be 7 games.
Have we got a 4? Have we got a 4 against the Mets somewhere?
I think so. I think one of those is a 4-game series.
That's tasty. I did not expect us and the Mets in September to be, because the Mets are still going to fancy a little shot of the division while they're within range and going to play us. I can't even believe we're in this position where should be if we beat the Mets, and we should, both series, we should have the division pretty much locked up after that.
It's pretty wild how good, and I think David Stearns is such a great GM. But particularly when it comes to acquiring pitchers, the entire reason their season has gone the way it has is because Sean Manaea and Luis Severino have refound their form. And they've done so under the Mets' watch, which is pretty impressive. But on top of that, I mean, you look at that lineup, it's not really all that scary outside of Francisco Lindor playing like the MVP that he is.
Lindor's really found his stride, hasn't he?
He's incredible. But, outside of Lindor, that lineup kind of struggles. But their pitching has been so good. Their starting pitching, at least, has been so good that it's brought them to now ahead of the Braves in the standings.
Ahead of the Braves. I know. As great as the Braves' downfall is, it's the Mets.
No, I'm always going to enjoy it. I'm always going to savor it and enjoy it. I don't care about the Mets. Especially because, I live in New York. So playoff baseball being in New York is always really exciting. I can't even lie. But I will just always savor.
I tell you what, Alex, Seth Johnson is finding that inside zone now. That's
the goal here. That's what he really wants to do. But I did not like that curveball right there. That was hit very hard. Great play over at third base, but that curveball was not the out pitch that I think he wanted it to be. Hopefully,
but then he's still learning that. He's still learning that as well, isn't he?
Absolutely.
This is a hard trial for him, because he's trying to work. Like we said, unbelievably, he's still so green. He's learning himself in September. This is the worst time of year to be learning your stuff.
Yeah.
If this was March, April, spring, fine.
Sure. Yeah, these guys have, they've seen everything at this point. So it's a tough break for somebody like him. But at the same time, he's what I really, really like is, and I would like to ideally, I think the plan for him next year, see him get a little bit stronger, maybe see him, boost that durability a little bit. Especially in his lower half. I would love to see him be like a lower half guy. That is that fastball to Jesus Sanchez right there. That ride that he gets on that fastball, so good. That is what you really, really, really want to see from him.
That's
And I'm
filthy.
really,
That's
yeah,
filthy.
I'm interested in seeing. That's the ultimate thing, right? He looks like a major leaguer. These pitches are competitive. He's getting swings and misses. He's, putting together really strong sequencing. He's hitting his spots. Like things are going well. But what I think is really interesting, he hasn't thrown a single sinker, which I thought that was going to be strike three. That probably should have been strike three, but
Yeah.
it was Garcia kind of gave up on it a little bit, which is unfortunate. But either way, I think I just want to see that
Should have been.
delivery.
That should have
That
been.
changeup is really cool. That changeup has real sinker action. I've never really noticed that before. I think the camera angles that I've seen of it have been pretty bad. But that changeup is a really interesting pitch.
All
You
being
can
well
see
next
though.
year, if we do see Seth again, it should be in a bullpen role because we could have Painter in the rotation next year. But
Could be. He'll probably get a few chances to kind of shake things out at Double and Triple A. I think.
Yeah.
As ready as he was before he went on the IL, I think he really needs to get some reps in. I think he'll probably be more of like a guy you see towards the later half of the season. I think they will still probably give Taijuan Walker a shot next year.
Yeah.
That is,
Did,
yeah.
oh,
He's on the books. He's not going anywhere. This is the thing that I think a lot of people are going to be upset about this offseason because we know Phillies fans, regardless of whether or not they go super far in the postseason, regardless of that's insane that just landed for a hit.
it just sums it up so far, doesn't it?
That's so sad.
He didn't even full swing, did he? He was like a tennis shot.
That was a swinging bunt. That was crazy. Not even a swinging bunt. That was a
It
swinging
wasn't. Yeah.
loop.
What was that?
That's crazy. But anyway,
bad luck.
I want to see that.
Bad luck for Seth.
That's just a half swing. That's awful. Anyway, he was trying to check it. That's crazy.
Need a double play quick. Yeah, we could do with one. We could do with one and get Seth into the fourth at least.
I think he's going to the fourth. His
bad
pitch count's in a
luck.
really manageable place right now. Yeah, you'll probably see him throw. If he's going to throw a sinker at all, this at bat is probably going to be the time. Or maybe he uses that changeup in that same way. But no, I think Johnson will probably start in AAA next year because I do think Taijuan Walker is going to get an extended leash. And if next year, that's unfortunate. That's another bloop. Very good.
Man, but this is it. There's nothing at that hard hit against. Oh, well, that's... Wow.
Nothing you can do. Nothing you can do. But
and it's 4-0 Marlins.
It is what it is. But I think that Taijuan Walker is going to get that extended leash. He's a guy that's under contract. The Phillies are not going to pay somebody to take that contract off the books. And there was even interest in Jameson Taillon this year at the trade deadline. I think if you have any opportunity to, showcase Taijuan Walker as a serviceable major league pitcher, you will do that because then Seth Johnson's already getting a taste at the majors, right? Which is awesome. Yeah. He's already getting a taste at the majors. Andrew Painter is going to be ready next year, barring any kind of setback or something like that. Mick Abel is probably going to be working all offseason to try and refine that command and refine whatever has gone wrong this year.
Yeah, it hasn't quite been the year for Abel that any of us, including himself, would have been hoping for.
But he's shown flashes. He's shown that was a gross cutter. He's shown flashes. He's shown really, really, there have been some moments of real positivity there. So, all is not lost on that front. You've got those three guys. Moises Chassé is probably going to be factoring into the AAA roster at some point, because now things are starting to kind of get away from Johnson here.
Yeah, this is not a good one.
Not great, but on top of that, again, this is a guy, and now he's just filling up the zone and he's making them beat him, and they're beating him, right? So I'm okay with that. But all three of those guys are going to, factor into the Phillies' plans at some point next year, right? So I don't think that they're going to exactly be starved for starting pitching depth, especially too if I don't know, they'll probably let Colby Allard go, but if Colby Allard's around, maybe he can be the ninth guy on the depth chart.
Tyler?
No, Kyle Tyler I don't think will factor into anything.
Tyler Phillips.
Tyler Phillips. Oh, yeah. Sure. Kyle Tyler also being a guy that's
No,
getting
Carl.
away right now.
Yeah.
But Tyler Phillips, maybe. I feel like at this point we've kind of seen what we need to. That's going to kind of tell us that Tyler Phillips is probably more of just like a last resort kind of option. But at the same time, who's to say? Maybe he finds something cool in the offseason or makes some kind of change. But he's all. I mean, he can be included in that list too, right? But I don't think the Phillies are going to be starved for options, and I
No,
think
not at all. Not at all.
that really at least makes me feel like Taijuan Walker is going to get that shot, and then if he does well, great, they can parse him off to another team. If he does poorly, they can then DFA him, and hopefully bring up somebody more worth the spot. But again, the fifth starter is not something that you need to break your back to,
No, absolutely not.
to acquire or to.
It just shows up. It just shows the riches of fortunes, or the fortunes of riches that we have. That our main problem's the fifth starter,
and primarily too, your four starters, your Zach Wheeler, Aaron Nola, Ranger Suarez, Christopher Sanchez are. I mean, they are just mostly made up of 1 and 2s, right?
Yeah,
Like
absolutely. Yeah,
if Christopher Sanchez is your fourth best starting pitcher, you're doing pretty well for yourself, and that squeaks through the infield. That is so unfortunate.
this is
Man,
running away.
some bad batted ball luck. That is for sure. But ultimately, the 1 through 4 in the rotation are outstanding. So I don't think that the fifth starter is going to be something that the Phillies have to worry about. And if anything, they'll shore up that space with some more, hopefully, shrewd minor league signings, like with Colby Allard this year, like with, I don't think there's another name to be mentioned in that
No.
list. But Colby Allard did pretty well.
Yeah, looked pretty good when he came up.
He definitely superseded every expectation I possibly could have had for him. And again, I know that this is. I think a lot of people will say that leaving Seth Johnson in here is, just forcing him to kind of work through some struggles and maybe, hurting his confidence a little bit. I couldn't disagree more. This is going to serve as motivation. This is a tough lesson to learn, right? Sometimes the batted ball luck is going to get you. Sometimes, bad teams are gonna beat out some of your better pitches. But this one is really getting away. But I think that but I think that the big thing here is like now Johnson's going to go back to AAA with a chip on his shoulder, right? This is pretty humbling for a guy that's had a pretty great year and has had a lot of success in the Phillies organization. And so this is just going to be a big motivator for him. And I think that's pretty awesome. So I think regardless of what the results on paper will say, this is only going to, help somebody like Seth Johnson become a better pitcher. And out he goes for Max Lazar.
And Lazar's coming in, and we could. Wow, what did we win at game 2? 16-2. There's some there's some payback from the Marlins.
Well, you know what they say about run differential. It typically normalizes as you play through a full season. So if you are a team that's getting lucky in terms of run differential, you will be humbled at some point, right? And I think those 14 runs that the Phillies accrued in that game are going to disappear today because the Marlins are probably going to put up a hefty amount and got 4 on them yesterday. It was 5-9 was the final score, right? 5-9.
It's just always the Marlins, isn't it? It's always the Marlins.
2 more runs for the Marlins, and then things normalize.
Yeah. We get 9-5
back to the 0.
9-5 yesterday, 16-2 game 2.
We're almost there. 2 more runs, and then the Pythagorean gods will be
the classic. It's the classic pesky Marlins, isn't it?
And as we can see, Terry Palfrey in the comments saying, it's not humbling, it's humiliating. No, it's not. Again, this is a guy with 60 starts in his career. He has started 60 games. He's pitched 237 innings, right? This is a guy that blazed through the minors, a new pitcher, right? And now is getting a little bit of a humbling experience. But he's a guy with a long career ahead of him. So it's not fun to watch, but it is something that's going to, help him become a better pitcher. He's going to be dissecting this film all offseason.
Look, it's only the third inning. If the Phils can get a couple of runs here, chip away. It's time to chip away for the offense because Cabrera is more than hittable. Like, we should be getting to Cabrera. There's no reason why we can't
And
get
this
some
shot
runs
in the
back.
dugout, this is awesome. Rob Thompson, I'm spitting everywhere. Rob Thompson talking to Seth Johnson. Seth Johnson smiling, right? It's not humiliating. This is something that he's going to learn from. This was a tough spot for him to be put in, and they're just trying their options right now. So I'm really glad that he was able to get that in today.
So Max Lazar comes in. Do you know what? I thought we were at the end of the inning there. I forgot. I forgot it was just
Nope.
a pitching change. So Lazar comes in.
Speaking of great minor league signings,
no,
you got one right here?
The other one from the Orioles in the Soto trade?
No. That's Moises Chassé. Lazar was somebody that the Phillies signed him to a minor league contract in October of not October of last year. What am I saying? In December maybe of last year. He was not an Angel. I'm thinking of Robinson Pena. Where did he play? He might have been a Brewer or a Yankee. One of those two. I'll tell you right now. Let's go take a peek. But he's somebody that the Phillies signed.
I liked him this year. I don't think he's been too bad this year at all.
He tore up AAA, and the Phillies, he's a really interesting pitcher. Pitches from a really high arm slot, really deceptive. He is obviously, we've seen him enough this year to know his arsenal. But he's a guy that I actually really like watching pitch. He's a guy with unique traits, and the Phillies love that. They love their funky, unique guys. And Lazar is definitely that. But that really weird arm slot that he pitches from, for me, is really fun to watch. He was he was a Brewer. So
former Brewer.
So he was a minor league free agent last year. And my stream just decided to explode. He was a minor league free agent last year. And the Phillies picked him up in the offseason, and he tore through AAA. I think he had like a sub 1 ERA for ages, and then had like a 1 something. And that one's going to go, unfortunately. There you go. We've regulated Connor Norby, killing it. And this is something that I tweeted ages ago. Welcome to Terry. You must be new here. If you've never seen me, I'm a very optimistic person, but at the same time, I like to think that it's relatively realistic. But this is something that I literally tweeted on the day of the trade. Let me get it up. I said, let me take a look. Connor Norby has future Philly killer written all over him. This is an awesome get for the Marlins. And he's hit 3 home runs in 2 days.
I was going to say, he got one yesterday. Did he get one yesterday as well, didn't he? Or did it the day before?
And I'm going to tweet that out again.
And here's Berger. So the Phillies 10.
Or was it the day prior?
Like the comeback of all comebacks. Had the Phillies ever come from 10-0 down? Is this?
I don't think any team ever has. This one's over. I do think. Yeah.
Well,
either way,
we got to hope for a Dodgers loss, a Brewers loss, and a Mets loss. Is now what we're clinging on to. Damage limitation.
Even then, it's not. Again, we are not to be whatever about this, but 7-game deficit at this point in the season, it's quite a lot. And yeah, the Phillies and the Mets play each other 7 times, but I don't think that there is. What
do you think about the buy spot, Alex? Like, would you rather go for the buy or the wild card? It's been a bit of a debate. Like, I would rather us have the rest.
You definitely want the buy. You want
absolutely.
The buy.
Top seeded, preferably.
Anyone that doesn't want the buy is overthinking it completely. It is so silly to let little, what am I trying to say? Like superstitions get in the way of wanting a competitive advantage. That is
Right,
so
right.
what a stupid take. That is so not to be whatever, but I've seen that all over Twitter lately, and that is like the silliest thing I think you could ever talking yourself out of a competitive advantage is crazy. What a wild thing to say.
I like what 2022 Astros had the bye week and they looked far fresher going into that World Series. That the Phillies ran out of legs completely. The Astros, we did well. We ran out of legs. The Astros kept going. I'd have the extra week's rest. It'll be good for Bryce. It'll be good for everybody. Good for everybody, including the
It
pitchers.
would be fantastic for everybody. And listen, again, the preparation, obviously the Phillies have never had that before, so they have to make sure their preparation is spot on. But I don't think that this team is one that you have to worry about when it comes to preparation. Um, these guys know what they want. They are not going to get complacent or cocky or
No, I
you
agree.
know.
Well, I'd hope so after last year.
No, that doesn't. With this team, are you kidding? These guys are grinders. They are not a team that's going to say, "Yeah, we got this in the bag," right? They know better than that. They
Well,
have
I'd
been
hope
that
so. Like I
team
said, after the
before.
D-back series last year, that
I don't
lessons
think
have to be
that's
learned.
I don't think that's neither here nor there, honestly. I think that that is a good team getting hot at the right time, right? The D-backs, you know, they were down, they got hungry, and they did that to the Phillies. The Phillies didn't do it to themselves, right? Like I don't think that again, all of this stuff is it's superstition, right? But there is a direct advantage to having a buy. There's a direct advantage to being higher seeded.
Exactly, and
There's a direct
like
go ahead.
for me, you have to use it because I don't think the Braves and the Dodgers ever do. Because the Braves, like last year, the Braves had the division wrapped up so early, they took their foot off the gas. The
But
Dodgers
there's a
always do
completely
the same. Whereas I think this year the Phils are going to have to play full intensity anyway to get that buy spot. I think we'll use it far better than the Braves have done the last 2 years and the Dodgers.
but there's a completely different being a good regular season team and being a good postseason team are two completely different things, right? You look at a guy like Jeff Hoffman. You think a guy like Jeff Hoffman is good in the regular season? He's a dog. That dude only gets amped up further when the postseason adrenaline hits. You look at Zach Wheeler. Zach Wheeler, the moment is never too big, right? He always ends up meeting, what
Mm.
is demanded of him. And when that energy gets heightened, he is nails. He is constantly nails. Aaron Nola, pretty much the same. As much as people love to say he hasn't proven himself as a postseason pitcher and all these things, Aaron Nola has been spectacular in the postseason.
Yeah,
He's
really
been
has. Yep.
excellent because those moments are huge. And you look at I think it's like a 3.7 ERA career in the postseason. And like to have anything below a 5 in the postseason, I think is pretty good because there are some games where it's going to get away from you, right? So like you look at all of these guys, they are guys that when the energy gets heightened, they only get better, right? But you look at the Braves, and I'm not going to sit here and say, Ronald Acuna isn't a big moment guy, right? Or like I don't know, Austin Riley or Matt Olson, right? But I don't look at that team and see guys that match the moment. I see really good regular season consistent players, but I don't see, the same level of intensity that I see from some guys on the Phillies squad when it
Oh,
comes
that's
to the
the double
postseason.
play, isn't it?
Unfortunately, where's Pete?
Yeah, Pete's on his way. Pete has just messaged me. He is on his way. We were discussing the last stream about actually until Sanchez really putting a good result. But would you in the postseason put Sanchez in the home games and try and avoid him for the road games with his road and home splits being so wildly erratic?
Maybe. I don't think, again, I think that's more of just a distribution of luck than it is anything else. Because Citizens Bank Park is a hitter friendly park, right? Like, let's not get it twisted. That's a hitter friendly park. So I think that when it comes to, and also, I don't know if Chris Sanchez is going to be the guy that they turn to as the game three starter. That might be Ranger Suarez. I do think that there's some credence to having Chris Sanchez be your game three starter and then have Ranger Suarez be kind of like a bullpen weapon for you or like a swingman when you need it, kind of Madison Bumgarner esque. But I don't know. I don't think the postseason is different. It's just different in every way, shape, and form. And to me, I think Chris Sanchez is, he's proven himself more than worthy
Oh, I
of,
I can't wait for Sanchez in the
he's
postseason.
going to be
I can't
unreal.
wait.
Going to be great. And he's a guy that, you know, that I'm just so excited. He is also very level-headed, very cool, very calm, very collected. So is Ranger, right? But I think that having Ranger in the pen is probably more valuable than having Philly fan got up for 1 second and now it's
Yeah,
10-0.
it's
Um,
been yeah, it's although the
not
offense.
not a great time.
No, this is
Not a great
worse
time.
than the Astros blowout a couple of weeks ago. We've been
Again,
very
I think
50-50 so far on these watch alongs. It's either
it's still
been an offensive explosion for us or the other way around. We've had no. The Blue Jays game was quite close. That was
still
a
a
good one.
series split. It is still a series split, and I think that anybody would be obviously with the Marlins, you want to beat them into the ground, right? But at the same time, there's a Marlins team full of young guys that they don't have a lot of major league track record to them, so you don't really know how to sort them out, right? You don't have as detailed breakdowns of their tendencies and things of
And the
that nature.
Marlins
So
always have one over us, don't they? Like
exactly, it always
always, like
happens.
the Marlins could put out a single A team and still get one game out of us at least.
Yep.
It's just one of those teams, isn't it? Like, every
Oh,
team has them.
Philly fan, if you think Taijuan Walker is sniffing the postseason, you are mistaken. That man is going to be sitting at home watching his team from the couch. I hate to be
Again.
so, yeah. There, I mean, maybe he'll be in the dugout, right? But he's not going to be on the roster. That is for certain. Um, I don't think there is a single moment. I think you're going to be looking at. I mean, it's too early to get into this, but if you're looking at what that postseason roster is going to look like, you're getting the top four guys in the Phillies rotation. I think the only addition to the bullpen will probably be Spencer Turnbull, um, who hopefully is back by then. I don't know what he is
What is it
going
like?
through.
It's all very quiet
Setback after
around
setback.
Spencer. I
Yeah.
know he's had a setback, but they're not even going into details, are they? It's all very, very
Once
hush.
again, but this is why, and people are going to sit here and tell you that jerking him around from the rotation to Philly fan. We kind of talked about that earlier. We'll touch on it again in a second. Jerking him around from the bullpen to the rotation to the bullpen to the rotation is what caused it. No, he's an injury-prone player. This is a guy with a lengthy injury history, right? And you had to be careful with him this year, regardless of what you wanted to do, with the team. And now we're seeing the fruits of that come to fruition, right?
Yep.
He is an injury prone guy, and that's just what it is. I do think it'd be really interesting to see if they can bring him back next year. I would like to see Spencer Turnbull, more of Spencer Turnbull, because he was dynamite for
Like, what a start to the
the early
season
part
he
of the
had.
season. He was really
Unreal.
good. But as for Taijuan Walker, Philly fan, I think they're going to give him another shot out of the rotation to start the year next year. And then if that doesn't, that doesn't work out, he's probably going to get the boot. And you'll see one of Seth Johnson or Andrew Painter or McAble or
Do you
somebody
think it's surprising
take that
they're
rotation
giving
spot.
Ty Young this sort of long leash when they gave Witt literally a quarter of a season?
Witt was on a 1-year deal, that he was cooked. He was absolutely cooked. He was
Yeah,
terrible.
and he's shown for the Braves as well.
And they had better options in AAA, right? For Taijuan, he is owed a gluttonous amount of money, but then also is somebody who, like, Rob Thompson is completely right when it comes to this guy. You can't look at him and not see some upside, like a lot of it, or not even upside, but not see a competitive major league pitcher. Like, he has the velocity decrease nobody could have predicted, and it sucks because it has made him so ineffective. But if he can rebuild that velocity and refine that splitter, he's the same guy that gave you a 4.2 ERA over 32
Mhm.
starts
Yeah,
a
yeah.
year and a half ago, right? Like, I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that he's going to be good, but he can be a serviceable fifth starter when he is normal, and he's not normal right now, and
But
that's the
even
unfortunate
a
thing.
mid 3.4 ERA for a 5-star, you'd sort of take, wouldn't you? Which I suppose would just. Although now he's ballooning the sixes, mid sixes, another 3 runs, 2 runs
Yeah, but
yesterday
he's
for Walker.
also he's pitching. What is so infuriating is that he's pitching like a starting pitcher out of the bullpen. He's pitching like a guy that knows that his career is still ongoing. and is being dainty from a bullpen role instead of like putting his all into an inning or two or three of mop up. Because his velocity hasn't changed. His effort level is not going up. But I think that's more because he's worried about the future of his career than he is about,
Yeah.
helping out his team, which I get, but I don't
The
know.
Phillies have done a double play.
Yay. It's always, but that's the thing. The relationship between Taijuan Walker and the Phillies has always felt really weird, to me at least. And it feels like maybe there's a little miscommunication going on there between what he expects and what they expect. Um, I don't know. I don't
We
have
saw
any
it
kind
in
of.
the postseason, didn't we? I think he
Uh,
wanted to be there, and he had the tweets out.
yeah, and I think that at the same time too, they wanted to turn him into a pitcher that maybe he doesn't want to be. Right? Maybe it just doesn't align with the way that he likes to pitch. Um, and I think that has yielded the confusing results that we have seen from him. But he's in a bad spot right now. He's in a really bad spot. He needs to take the offseason, work his butt off, and then come back next year and really prove himself where he's going to go.
Yep, and it's going to be tough for him to get picked up. How old is Walker now?
Well, he
It's
will
going to
definitely
be.
get picked up. He'll get picked up for sure. He's 31,
Yeah, but the money. Oh, I suppose we'll drop
maybe
the.
32.
No, yeah, season after next. Yeah, the money will be gone, wouldn't it?
He'll get well, yes, but he'll be released. If he gets DFA'd, there's not a chance he gets picked up on the waiver wire. They will release him. They'll eat the contract, and then he'll sign league minimum with another team. He will definitely get picked up. He can give a bad team innings, and that is probably what will happen. I would imagine he'd go to like I don't know the Athletics or like the Nationals or something. But he'll go to a team that is or like the White Sox, right? Like the White Sox, the
The
Tigers, a
graveyard of
team
baseball.
a team that will try to turn him into something that will, give them a return at the trade deadline. Um, that's where he would go. And I think everybody should be fully expecting that will probably happen. He will probably be relatively serviceable for another team if the Phillies DFA and release him. Because the other team will let him pitch the way that he wants to pitch, and maybe that will help him blossom into something.
Yeah,
Who's
yeah.
to say? But
As that is a
it's not
scoreless
working with the Phillies.
inning. A scoreless inning.
A rare commodity these days.
Where?
How about that?
The Wilson haven't
How
got a
about
hit
that?
yet.
No, Phillies are being no
Wait,
hit.
let me turn the light on. It's got super dark in here. Hold on.
Yeah, you got dark over there. I am probably gonna have to run relatively soon. I want to wait for Pete to get
Yeah,
here,
I
so I
just
don't
messaged him now. Let's see.
leave you mumbling.
Let's see. Where is Pete? Where is Pete? Here we are. He's just got. So classic Pete. He's just got back from a tennis tournament.
Of course he has.
On
What
brand.
tennis tournament? Is he playing?
Yeah, he plays. He
Well, I know
plays
he
quite
plays, but
regularly.
is he playing in the tournament? Or is he going to see it?
No. He'd been
And
playing.
view it? Wow, go Pete. I didn't know he plays tournaments. I know he plays. I didn't know he plays
Yeah,
tournaments.
he's quite. He's got to find other hobbies now outside the Marlins.
Oh my god. He has believe me, that man has hobbies. I remember when I ran into him over by you guys, I don't know if the world knows where he lives or not. But when I ran into him, I remember he was like all in athleisure. He loves his Gymshark.
Oh
He was
yeah.
all in athleisure. Just having a actually no, I caught him out of work, but I remember under his work clothes he had athleisure on, and I was like, this man's about to go to the gym after we've just had like 2 or 3 beers.
Oh yeah. He doesn't. The grind doesn't stop for Pete.
He's nuts.
The grind, yeah. So yeah, he's up in Yorkshire, very near Leeds. My old stomping ground neck of the woods. All right, is the offense going to wake up? Give us something, Phils. Come on.
I doubt it. But even so, a hit would be nice. A no-hitter, I would not like to see Pete Pratt celebrating a no-hitter on a live.
No, nor would I. Would like to see me either. We got so close against the Astros to be no hit. That was a disaster. Cabrera.
Oh yeah, they really have though.
What has happened to Miami, the Marlins? Like postseason, 2022 contenders last season, yet they've gone completely as here is Pete now. Oh, well, let's talk of the man and the Phils. This is terrible. Let's get the man on. Pete Pratt, ladies and gentlemen.
Gents, how are we?
Well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've just turned it on.
But
I was like, what the hell's going on?
I think.
What is going on?
Your boys have, Cabrera, of course, is pitching like an all-star, expected. It's against the Phils. And
unreal.
Seth Johnson he struggled. He
got shellacked.
Yeah.
He got shellacked.
Full disclosure, I've literally just come back from a tennis match. Turn this on, 10-0. I've never heard of Seth Johnson, by the way. Just want to call that out. So I'm in that headspace at the moment.
He was kind of the headliner of the package that the Phillies got back from the Orioles for Greg Soto.
Okay. So
and he had been mashing it in the minors. He had been mashing it. He'd been doing one of the minors. He'd been.
So his story is pretty cool, Pete. He was a first round pick. He was like a two-way, but also like primarily shortstop, and was converted to a pitcher. He's got 60 starts in his minor league career. Pitched a total of like 240 innings.
Wow.
And now he just blazed through the minors and is here. Obviously.
And then got blazed by the Marlins.
Greeted poorly. But honestly, he's very talented. We saw some really good stuff from him today. I think durability and kind of how are we losing 10-0 to the Marlins? Yeah, well,
Marlins.
It is the Marlins.
Yeah, it's just the Marlins. No more.
But no, he showed some good stuff.
Unfortunately,
that third inning was a disaster. But
it was. But there's so many infield balls through the gap, bloops.
Okay, that's standard Marlins. If it's the bottom of the order, which I assume it was, that like just accumulated, it's going to be bloops, extravaganzas. It
was from the short guy down. Who's that short guy? Sanoha. Yeah, it was from him down. They had his number, and Connor Norby has 2 home runs, which
I've seen two bombers for Norby. So yeah, fair play to him.
He's so good.
Alex, you called the moment he was traded to the Marlins. The moment he was traded to the Marlins, Alex, you called it. He's going to be a Philly killer.
Pete, I think you interacted with that tweet at the time. I think. I can't remember.
That sounds like me.
Something Pete would be all over.
No, I said as soon as the day of the trade. Oh man, Connor Norby has future Philly killer written all over him. This is an awesome get for the Marlins, and unfortunately.
It's proved to be.
Is exactly what happened.
Pete, for the Marlins, the perfect man. We have to do something. His live strings got crushed. No, wrong. We beat the Jays last time out. We beat the Jays. Everyone you've watched, we've been crushed.
The curse is real, baby.
The Astros nearly no hitters. Now we're about to get no hit again.
Well, no. Now that Pete's here.
Yep, I'll turn the tide.
Storm all the way back.
We are panning. Like, there's nothing happening in this game. We've had an hour 13 of covering the minors, the postseason roster. So, Pete, the Marlins, and we were just saying before you came on, 2022 postseason, just missed out last year, contending. How have they got it so wrong this year? How have they not kicked on? Not just not kicked on, but you've fallen through the roof. What's happened?
Front office changes, guys. I guess that's at the core, right? Like, new front office, different direction. It is what it is. So Bendix, the Rays model, this is what we should expect. And so it's the start of the journey.
But then why after 2 years of contending for postseason baseball, did they mix it all up?
I think I'm with you, Dave. I was like stunned at this and deeply hurt by this because 23 was awesome as a Marlins fan, and like Marlins fan base, small as it may be. We had a lot of fun in 23, no doubt. But unfortunately, the rotation decimated. Then there's just no coming back. And I think Bendix was already toying with a rebuild already. And then Sandy's already down with Tommy John, as you know. And then Yuri Perez, the same. And then the other rotation members already down
as well, didn't he?
Luzardo was hurt. Braxton Garrett was hurt. You know, you've got your top 4 guys out, and for a club like the Marlins, it's built on the pitching. That was the problem. I mean, we've seen it, right? The white flag came out. I mean, I've never seen an earlier white flag than the
Yeah.
Arias trade on, like, I don't know, the 2nd of May. I mean, that is the earliest white flag I've ever seen from a postseason team the season before. And so, you know, this season has gone. I mean, it's so funny. We're sat here the 8th of September. It's 10-0 Marlins.
Yeah,
against the division leading Phillies. Like, baseball is such a weird sport in general.
Baseball, man.
Yeah, this is it. It's crazy. But, you know, the Marlins that started, they were decimated, clearly. They were bloated with terrible dudes, terrible vets. And it's funny how you move on from them vets, the washed up dudes, the guys that have been, and now you got a load of young, hungry dudes in the mix. Like, this is the cheapest offense there must be. Like, I think
surely
it has to be the cheapest offense. I mean, this offense is on fire.
Like I said,
but it also, that's the cool thing about the Marlins too. There's like the actual makings of a decent roster here, which I think Bendix, say what you will, I hate that they let Kim walk.
Me too.
And I hate that because she's an outstanding GM. But past that, I think Bendix is just all about exactly what the Rays are about. Just never hanging on to a vet and always wheeling and dealing. And I don't think Florida needs another one of those teams, but I don't think baseball needs another one of those teams. But at the same time, this roster is like not awful. Xavier Edwards is probably not a leadoff guy on the majority of teams, but he could hit like 7th or 8th or 9th. And then like Connor Norby is a great player. Like, he has great player written all over him. You can build around him. You can build around, hopefully Jake Berger's playing more first base next year, which that's what you'd want ideally.
I think so.
But like you can build around some of this. Jonah Bride probably shouldn't be here. Although he's been pretty good for them, if I recall, but he probably shouldn't be here, maybe on the bench. Otto Lopez should not be starting. Griffin Conine's fun. Like, at the very least, he can be a fun outfielder, right? But, like, the majority of this roster you probably want to churn through. But the other white flag that the Marlins set up, what did they do for the bullpen this offseason? They did nothing.
They didn't do anything for any pitching. I mean, even though like Sandy was down, you think, okay, you know, let's go. I mean, how do you plug Sandy Alcantara in that gap? It's almost impossible. But, you know, in previous years where they tried to like do something, okay, it didn't work out amazing, but you end up with Johnny Cueto. You invest a bit of money into Cueto. I mean, this is 2 years ago and he was terrible, but nevertheless, you try to do something. But the fact that it was, we're going to do nothing. And then actually we get to opening day, the day before opening day. And do you know what we're going to do? We're going to trade one of our best utility guys in John Birdie.
That's right. Yeah.
Think, man, oh man, like, we've done nothing. And I think this is what irks me the most. And Alex, you've already got me going because listen, I've been hosting
Pete,
this podcast.
This is good.
Great, Pete. I was panning. I was struggling.
Okay, good. Well, I can take this as a therapy session. That's fine. And listen, on Locked On Marlins, I get to talk to myself like for half an hour a day, and you know, it's been a lot of therapy on Locked On. But this is what irks me, and did irk me with Bendix. We know the model, we know what they're trying to do, and it's the Rays model. And what I would have preferred is Bendix to rock in and go, this is a rebuild, guys, and we're just going to have to retool it here. But unfortunately, it was politicians speak. And for everyone that's listened to politicians speak for the years, you know, et cetera, as we're grown adults, it's the most frustrating type of speak there is because it's straight up lies and you know they're lying. And it's like, as a fan, just tell me the truth. I'm happy. Tell me the plan. And that's where Derek Jeter, when he came in, whatever that was, 2017, he was straight up with the fans. And the fans were like, okay, this is fine.
There's a hit.
The no-hitter's broken up.
Oh, no. No, that was an error. There's no way that's a hit.
That's a hit, Pete. It gotta be.
No way.
With today's scoring.
That's a hit.
No way. I mean, that was a dribble at the third.
It's been marked an error, I believe.
It has to be.
But
that's a stone cold error. That.
I also don't. Why is Connor Norby playing third?
Well,
second. Why aren't they playing him at his natural position?
Marlins baseball, baby.
This is it, baby.
Right? Who's playing? Otto Lopez is playing second.
Error.
Well, I guess they don't have a serviceable third baseman.
No,
But
well,
Jonah Bride.
Otto Lopez has been immense, by the way. Second, like defensively, Otto Lopez
Really?
is
Okay.
sexy in that spot. So I
But
get
that's
it
a
defensively,
bench,
but
that's a bench name. Yeah. Anyway, sorry
I'm
to
with
You know
you.
what?
interrupt you,
If
but at the
Brandon
same
Marsh
time,
gets a hit here, we get a bomb here or there,
Oh,
a
here
few
we go.
more on base, a
Dave.
few more bombs, a few more on base, a few more bomb. We might get back in this.
Let me just put it out there right now. Eddie Cabrera, anything could happen at any moment, and it turns. This is vintage Eddie Cabrera now. He'll walk Brandon Marsh. I'm convinced of it already before it even happens. He'll walk him, and then there'll be some sort of bloop somewhere, and the bases will be juiced. Salami, and then Eddie Cabrera's left stood there like that with the old teapot look on his face, and you're like, "How did this escalate so quickly?" Eddie Cabrera he's a specialist of escalations.
But
I
that's
love him.
I think the cool thing about and I hate giving any flowers to the Marlins at this point because I just hate this model of baseball.
Yeah.
But I by the way, I pay a lot of attention to the Marlins. Like I wouldn't go as far as to call myself a fan, but when I go on, I love the Fish Stripes guys, and I love
Yeah.
Oh, here we
all that.
go.
And
Oh,
wait, what happened? My stream froze.
Oh.
All right, now we got
that
it.
one. That was an error.
You called
Must
it.
have been an error.
So no walk. So you have hope.
You've called
But-
it. So here comes the bloop. So the walk will come now, or are we going to get the bloop?
Now it has to be the walk.
Has
Now
to
it
be the
has
walk. Has to be. And then look
Bases
out for the
juiced in
teapot.
Then for Big Kyle.
For
Yeah,
the
where are we?
teapot.
Where are we in the lineup
Oh,
here? Okay, we're going to the
no,
nine.
nine.
It's nine.
I think we are
Nine. But there's no way
Garcia's up.
Aramis Garcia walks. There's no way. He swings at everything. So there's not a chance. But
This is Garcia's first major league game in 2 years. If I
Oh,
saw
he was
rightly.
last with the Giants, right?
Yeah. He's been minor league ever since.
But the thing that I do like about what the Marlins have done is that they play to their strengths, and that, or not only the major league level, but in development too. They know what they're good at, and it's something that I wish the Phillies would do a little bit more of. In the draft this year, the Phillies waited till day 2 to select the majority of the pitchers that they drafted, and so they really have a penchant for selecting these like toolsy, like needs to develop this kind of hit tool, but like we'll be a 5-tool player. Like they have this penchant for doing that when they haven't proven that they can develop those kinds of guys. And the Marlins are just like, yeah, we develop pitching, so we're going to select primarily pitching and or obvious talents that don't maybe just need to grow instead of be reformulated in the minor leagues. But like, I think the Marlins develop pitching better than a lot of organizations will give them credit for.
yeah.
And because you people always talk about the Reds and the Guardians and all the Dodgers, if you can even call the injury havoc that they have going on over their development, but and the Rays and all that. But I feel like nobody ever really talks about the Marlins. And the Marlins just develop pitching like it's nobody's business. Braxton Garrett went from nothing to something in the span of a year.
I thought he was cooked. I thought he was like, he was on the 49. You're thinking this is a DFA dude, and all of a sudden you're like, holy smokes, there's something here. But I'm with you. The interesting bit though is like how. That size says to me it's a strikeout. Oh, it's
not a strikeout.
Double play. Oh no,
a little bit worse. Yeah.
Oh baby.
But a runner at third.
Okay.
No one should be allowed 9 runs. This is the manager's fault. Oh, Alex, do you want?
I love like getting to see people come out of the woodwork and say things like this. It's so clearly, it's ridiculous. Like, how is it Rob Thompson's fault that Seth Johnson allowed 8 runs, 9 runs? What is it?
I think it's Connor Norby's fault, to be honest with you. This dude's a stud.
Yeah, he's nuts.
Oh, that is perfect.
He's such a good hitter. He has ridiculous opposite field power. He's so good. Love him. Anyway,
that was close. But just on that though, Alex, just to what you're saying, and I completely agree. And that's been what you've seen with this Marlins organization, like pre-Bendix. I'm very interested to see, like, there's a lot of changes happening at all levels. The question is does the pitching conveyor belt continue, like in the Bendix era? Because the Kim Ang and that front office to your point, like they nail it. Like they would
Yeah.
polish a rough diamond up quickly. And next
Yep.
thing is Jesus Luzardo, Ryan Weathers, these guys, you're like, oh, okay. Like
Well,
you
Oh my God, I
Luzardo's a
forgot
genuine
about Ryan
Cy Young
Weathers.
contender.
yeah.
I forgot about Ryan Weathers.
Yeah.
This rotation next year should be pretty good.
Mate,
Like, it
he'd
should
be the
really
ace
good.
on the staff of 50% of Major League Baseball clubs. I'm convinced of it.
Where's Sixto? Is he injured? I know he's injured again, but is he done? Cooked? Finished?
See, that reaction's crazy. There's a corner of Marlins Twitter that where if you mention the name Sixto Sanchez, you are greeted with that reaction every time. Like Craig Mish is so done answering questions about Sixto Sanchez. He hates Sixto Sanchez.
Oh,
Crazy.
man.
He's enjoying that Miami lifestyle, isn't he, down there? He's putting some timber.
Boy, oh boy. He is round. Dave, this whole live stream was just exactly
almost
worth
spit out
that
my
moment.
Drink. That was crazy. I almost
What?
spit out my drink.
What's that? Where's
Wow.
Sixto?
That's great.
Oh
Wow.
man, beauty. Yeah, to
he's
answer the
on
question, though, Dave, he's on the IL. I mean, if that helps you, but that doesn't give you the full story. Like that is
that's his postage address. His postage address is 60-day IL road.
Yeah, 100%. Yo, thrown from 35 feet. I think that's what
underarm from 35 feet. Yeah.
Which is,
think
I
we're
mean, it's a
having
shocker
more
though,
fun
isn't
than
it?
Anybody watching this stream, I think we're having more fun.
Yeah,
But
100%.
good Lord. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah. I think that there have been a lot of lopsided trades over the last few years.
Mhm.
I think that trade for JT Realmuto might be, in terms of pure aggregate WAR,
Has to be.
I
up there.
think it's got to be up there because JT Realmuto's put on like 30 WAR for the Phillies, and I think Sixto
Put on 30
think
pounds.
Sixto-
30 pounds.
but I think he's undone the WAR that he gained in 2020.
He must have done.
He can't be a positive WAR player at this point. Let me look it up.
There's no way. No way.
I would believe it because his 2020 was so good.
Yeah.
But
it was only short, right? He wasn't starting in the rotation in 2020. He got, promoted and was on fire.
No,
and
he still has one career WAR. Still's got one.
Man, that's how good that 2020 campaigin was then.
And
I don't think he hasn't
he's like to
touched the
forever
field
have it as well, isn't he?
Yeah, I think so. I think he's probably done after this year. I can't see any team giving him a chance just based on sheer off field. Like he's a waste of a 165-man spot. He just is.
Yep.
And it's crazy. You can see his baseball reference page. It's 2020. He had that 3.46 ERA in 7 games started. But I mean, that doesn't even tell the story. There was a stretch of 5 starts in there that he was he was unhittable.
Yeah, he was. He was unreal.
And then it says 2021 did not play major or minor leagues injury. 2022 did not play in major or minor leagues injury. 2023 doesn't even have a column.
They've just
and then
forgotten he
2024 they didn't even bother. And then 2024 is a 6.06 ERA in 14 appearances.
How old is he
And
now?
it's ugly. 25. Isn't that crazy?
Crazy.
25.
You thought he's 35. There's the amount of college the inches,
might
the
as
column
well
inches.
He might as well be.
Yeah.
It's
No, the arm.
His
The
career
arm's
never got
45.
going.
Well, it's really wild. Back when that trade when that happened, the only thing that I had, and I wasn't nearly as, I don't want to say plugged in. I don't have like insane sourcing or anything like that, but I didn't have the people that I talk to now. The only thing that I was told about Sixto Sanchez and why the Phillies were willing to part with him was conditioning issues.
Mm-hmm.
That was the direct nomenclature that was told to me, conditioning issues.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, maybe he, doesn't train every day, or maybe he doesn't, whatever. I don't think he trains at all. I think he just shows up but that's why, like, it's so clear when a guy has this kind of injury history, he just probably doesn't even bother to stretch, doesn't even bother to prep, doesn't bother to what happened. I'm on Baseball Reference.
No, it looks.
I thought it was a double, but it just went foul.
Just foul, just about. You're right. You're right on Sixto. I mean, this sums it up for him, where he was, to your point, you're looking at it, didn't pitch in 21, didn't pitch in 22. There were some conditioning issues that were being talked about. So the Marlins then decided what we're going to do is we're going to do a puff piece. We're going to do like a PR stunt interview with Sixto Sanchez to let everyone know the real Sixto. We want to reintroduce him, back to the world and, call out just how hard he's working, how much of a great dude he is. And, everyone get hyped about this because we still haven't lost that Real Muto trade. No. So we did this, this PR.
Yeah, where's Will Stewart?
I'm not convinced, but he sounds like a regal guy. He sounds like he probably should be part of the royal family. I don't even know. The six
funny when that trade happened, everybody was like, "Watch, Will Stewart's going to be huge. He's the next Chris Sale, some left-handed pitcher that Anyway, continue. Sorry, Pete. I'm gonna look that up.
I'm glad we talked about Will Stewart. Actually, that was holding back the years on that one for sure. But with Sixto, they did this social media PR campaign. I think Kyle Sealaff might have been the interviewer for this little mini series that they did, and it was
it was videos.
It was videos as well, correct? So it was not just podcast form. There was video too. Kyle Sealaff, I think, was doing the interview, and who's the play-by-play guy on radio. For those that are wondering who the hell's Kyle Sealaff, he's the Marlins play-by-play guy. So he's a Marlins employee, right? So it was managed and designed by the Marlins to put the best foot forward. It was, Sixto propaganda is how I describe it. And for those that are now, like probably I would be going, I wonder where this piece is. Maybe I'll try and have a look at this. You go and search it, Sixto, whatever. Anyway, the Marlins deleted this.
No way.
They deleted it after. They put it out there, and it was actually like okay, I would say received. But subsequently, you go now and certainly, everything's in the internet forever, right? But not the Sixto Sanchez interviews anymore.
It was a FBI job, was it?
I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know what's happened with that
They
one.
scrubbed it.
They scrubbed
That's
it.
crazy.
It never existed.
Pete, where do you think Will Stewart is?
If you said to me he was playing for the Nottingham Eagles or something in England,
you're close.
Yeah,
you're close. He's playing for I cannot remember what this team's name is. It's in the Atlantic League. It's the York Barnstormers, maybe.
Well, there you go.
Something like that.
I mean, there's a York right near me, and I'm in Leeds, and York's very near me.
Precisely miles away.
I'll give you. Like, where do you think range-wise his ERA is?
I'm gonna say 6 to 7.
Nah, 4.
You're close. He has a 7.9 ERA.
Okay.
Across 49 innings. 7.90, by the way. ERA across 49 innings.
There's something there.
Call him back.
I think that's a guy that he almost has allowed as many earned runs as he has innings pitched in independent ball.
Wow,
that's phenomenal.
That's
what
pretty awful.
What a legend!
So that's Will Stewart of a 7.90 ERA in independent baseball. That's Sixto Sanchez, a 790-pound man, and Jorge Alfaro, who
Alfaro, of course.
Yeah, who is maybe playing in Japan now.
I mean, Alfaro
is affiliated.
He must be approaching the records for the number of minor league deals signed. I think soon, Jorge Alfaro.
Where is he?
He should be good. He's got such a great arm. He really improved defensively before he was traded. He has so much power. And look at that, a career 2.5 WAR guy. So he's in the green. He's not affiliated with a minor league team. He has not played in 2024 in any kind of affiliated baseball.
Him and Gene Segura.
I think he's in Japan. Hold on. No, not Gene Segura anymore. Well,
Gene's back, isn't he?
Is he
with the Orioles?
No, he got released. He got released.
Oh, he got released. Okay.
Yeah.
It's tough to keep track of all these ex-Marlins ghosts. I mean, there's so many of them.
Let me see. Foreign league.
When they check out, they check out. I'm not sure you're meaning the players or the Phillies themselves, but
it might be us.
Man. That was brutal. I mean, Mean Gene, the funny thing is you go and look at the like opening day or the opening week lineup for the Marlins, right? This is the Marlins that made the postseason. You go and look at that opening day lineup and you're like, yeah, okay. This really hits the point that pitching is everything for the Marlins because that offense was putrid. Putrid. Mean Gene at third and Avisel Garcia and right. And you're like, how did this team make the postseason? But somehow it did. Baseball's crazy like that.
It's the pitching. The pitching is
right.
So,
the rotation was good.
They are so good at developing pitching.
No doubt. Bullpen was nails as well. I just have to call that out. Actually, the bullpen was. I've never said this before for a Marlins pen.
Pop in that bullpen.
Pop's gone now. He was traded.
He's at the Jays. We saw him in the last watch along.
Yeah. Well, the Marlins, for some reason, just shipped all of their relievers to the Blue Jays. So you had a point where there's like Pop in there. There was Anthony Bass, but
I was going to say Anthony Bass.
He exited the Blue Jays, I think, under a bit of a storm, if I remember correctly. But
yes, I recall. He made that fuss about
his wife
the airplane.
on the airplane. Yeah. That's right. Yeah, that's right. He was kicking off.
But Alfaro last played for Licey in the Dominican Winter League and was not affiliated in 2024. As far as I can tell, was not affiliated. So he's probably he might be done, which is. Nobody put out.
How old is he? He's still in his 20s, isn't he?
He's 31.
Oh, he's older than I thought.
Yeah, but that's a guy that, like, if I had to bet on anybody in that trade becoming a competitive major leaguer, it would have been Jorge Alfaro. Like, he just hits the ball so hard. I think he still is, like, one of maybe 6 players in the StatCast era to have, like, a ball hit 120 plus miles per hour. He's just
Buddy Kennedy. Buddy Kennedy here, by the way.
What's that?
Yay!
I'm
Kennedy.
liking
Buddy.
Yeah, this is sexy. Yeah,
Buddy
I tell you, the Phillies have got some players.
Kennedy, because I ain't gonna lie, I don't know much about Buddy Kennedy. I've just seen he's been up and down, but
so he played. He was for a time on the Diamondbacks? ? And he was like he waffled up and down for a little bit, but he's actually a very decent like ball player. He's got I'm not sure if this is his last minor league option, but I'm a fan of his. He tore up AAA this year. Ever since joining the Phillies, he's been unbelievable in AAA. And now he's
now trying to work it out.
What is it?
Who's he in the game for now?
Probably Weston Wilson.
West.
I would imagine. Maybe. Come in for
number 2. He's in Turner.
He's replaced Trey Turner. Oh, that's good.
Oh, they've white flagged this game then.
Well, I mean, it is the top of the 7th, and this could be a pretty quick game.
What are we on? We're an hour and 30.
We're an hour 37.
We're heading for a 2-hour game here. As it's another UK friendly defeat for the Phils.
And we won't get a bottom of the 9th.
Horrible day games this year.
Tell me, guys, because listen, you're the experts here. You tell me, what's happening with the Phillies this year? Are they real? Is it for real? Are they in the mix? I know they started on fire.
Wait till postseason.
I know they were on fire at the start. Is it real?
They are, Pete. Coming into yesterday, right? They were the best team in baseball, record-wise. But on top of that, this roster from top to bottom is so. I hesitate to say complete because then I'll get people saying no, the 5th starter.
No, yeah, don't do it.
No, the backup catcher. This is as
got a 5th starter.
As holeless a roster as I've seen the Phillies put together since 2011. This is a really good roster. It's a really, really, really good roster.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me! And he's gonna be out. And he's gonna be out at second. Is he in or is he safe? He's safe.
What has happened then? How was that bounced on top of the wall there, by the way, and bounced straight up in the air? What's happened there?
That was nearly Bryce's first home run in 30 games.
Yeah, he has. This is the longest homer drought of his career.
Is it?
Which
yeah. He's playing hurt.
That's why they need the bye. They need the bye. I think that rest would be because he's not going to take it on his own.
Heck?
Right.
That's just bad. When your luck's not in, your luck's not in.
Guys, I'm going to have to run for about 15 minutes, maybe 10. and then I'll rejoin shortly.
I'll have to run when you get back, so that's
Okay,
good.
I'll
wait.
We'll do a relay. We'll do a tag. We'll do a
the exchange.
relay.
Perfect.
I've got to go and just get Theo settled in bed quickly. It's going to take me 10 minutes. I'll be back then, guys, and me and Dave can round this bad boy off. I mean,
yeah,
I trust you, Pete.
This game might be over in 10 minutes. It's flying along.
Honestly, I hope so.
All right, my kings. I'll see you back in 10 minutes.
Yeah, see you in 10.
All right.
See you in 10. So the Brewers are currently tied with the Rockies one apiece at least.
Yeah, let's do a check-in where
Mets are tied in the bottom of the 6th.
The Braves are winning 1-0 in the top of the 7th.
Top of yeah. So,
but again, I don't think that this is the Phillies have in this small, range of games managed to gain a few games. I mean, last week they were 5 up on the Braves, right? Well, they came into yesterday. They came into yesterday 8 up, right? They have space, right? And I think that ultimately you would rather lose these games to a non-competitive team and win the games against the competitive teams than you would vice versa.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think,
I still think we win the division anyway. It's that bye I want. It's the Brewers on what, and that series with the Brewers coming up is massive. In fact,
that'll be. But that's the thing,
isn't it? Rays, Mets, Brewers, Mets.
I'll tell you right now.
Coming up, we've got the Cubs in there somewhere as well. I know that, but the Cubs, any chance of wild card they've got, I think, should be diminished by then. I think the Braves and the Mets do fight for that last spot.
The update for the At-Bat app, it's impossible to find anything. I don't know how to look at the schedule.
Oh, yeah, it's horrible. You tried it, so they miss out games now with this new At-Bat for us with the time difference. It can't compute that there's actually 2 games on the same day for us.
It's so annoying. It's really, really, really frustrating. Anyway, you're probably right. You're probably right about that.
I know we've got the Rays and then the Mets, and then someone in between. It's either the Brewers or the Cubs, and the Mets again, and then it will be the Brewers or the Cubs, and then we've got the Nationals to finish the season off.
Yeah, I think in general, it's going to be the games that they play against the teams that
could be a run,
needed to win against.
This could be a run. No.
I didn't think so.
No.
I had pivoted away from the screen. Every time I pivot away from the screen.
Although, positive, Bryson Stott's hitting again. Another base hit for Bryson. He's had a hell of a series. Has Stott.
He loves hitting at Lone Depot. But past that, I think that is, again, the really important thing. I would rather these guys use this as an opportunity to get right and get, prepared for whatever they need when it comes to facing the Mets, the Brewers, these teams that they need to win against.
Yeah.
I would rather that they split with the Marlins when they just trounced the Braves, in a 4-game set. What are we doing here? Right?
We all sort of knew this is true, Phils. We absolutely wrapped 16-2. It's so rare we then follow it up in the next couple of games after. We have used up all our runs in the first 2 games.
Well, that's also just generally I feel like that's the thing with all baseball teams. If you come out and you score a bajillion runs in a game, your bats go quiet for the next, couple.
Yeah,
it just happens.
It's so hard to maintain. Baseball is one of the hardest sports in the world to maintain form.
But this is literally, I want to reassert that the 14 runs that they gained in their run differential, as unfortunately no runs will be scored, the 14 runs have been offset.
And we're not going to score a run here either. Oh, come on.
Nope. And
incredibly, the Phils have scored 26 runs in the first 3 games. It's 16 in game 2.
Yeah.
26 runs in the first 3 games. It's quite incredible. And again, we did it against, was it the Royals? We absolutely crushed in that series as well.
Yeah. Yep.
It's good. I know
they scored 26 runs and the Royals scored 6 or 27 to 6.
Yesterday's, well, actually, no, the last 2 games, the Marlins are going to put 19 on us. It's just,
right.
It's baseball. So Marlins have got 24 runs in total this series. We've got 26.
But it's also, it's pretty nuts that Connor Norby's been on this absolute heater for this series. That he has torn the Phillies up. So that's, I mean,
And you know full well
he's going to be a guy to
he'll
watch
go
out for.
for 40 in the next series.
I don't know about that. Oh,
What you got, Alex? Oh, you lost your volume, Alex.
All right, now you can hear me.
There we go. There we go.
Unfortunately, my AirPods have passed away. So there
Well,
goes
to be fair,
that.
what, it's been an hour and 45. We're now in the bottom of the. Where are we? Bottom of the 8th?
Yeah, it's bottom of the 7th now.
7th.
But
Bottom of the 7th. Oh, wishful thinking.
yeah, I know. You just want to get this one through. But
What are we on? 2 hits?
Yeah, it's
Two
been
hits.
it's been a rough one. Maybe for the next big one, Dave, let's stay off the live. Let's see if we can change the luck a little bit.
Well, we're 500. So we smashed the Royals, got smashed by the Astros, beat the Jays. Quite confident. We should have beat them more than what we did. 3 hits the Phils, and then this one. So it's been very, very swing and miss.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but it seems like the losses have been big losses.
Brutal.
Would have been pretty fun if this was a competitive game. But
yeah, the last stream we did got massive numbers on YouTube and Twitter. Like, it was a close game. It went to the end. We had the brilliant Sophie, who's the Jays fan. It was really good. It was a really good competitive game. This is just the Royals game 1 was just a bit of a blowout. Astros and this has just been a disaster.
Yeah,
but then we're going to try again for Mets next week.
Oh boy.
And that could go a number of ways.
Yeah. Is that a home series?
Yeah. Home. Okay. Yes, it is, because it's my birthday. Yeah, it's my birthday weekend. So home series. So we might do the Saturday. We've got two UK friendlies, Saturday and Sunday.
I don't know if I don't know if I'll be around for those, but I do know that then that next series, depending on how that series goes, I will be going to those.
Yes, because you're on the doorstep. You got to do it.
That I'm going to. That's for sure. Especially if it's any semblance of close, I will be going.
I'd hope that the Mets shouldn't be within touching this. I hope it's close for us clinching the bye. I know. The thing is, you can never call it with the Phils. It's the Mets. The Phils are Mets. We have the craziest series anyway.
Yeah.
It's just amazing how the Mets have picked up since London. They were a car crash until the London series.
I mean, they've been a car crash the majority of the season. And then
they've won their last 9. They've won 9 straight.
Yep.
I don't get it.
They're red hot.
And
red
still
hot.
They're playing in front of. I think the City Field's now just started to get full again. But
it's been pretty full all year. From what I've seen.
Has Tanner Banks hit him, or has he somehow missed him?
I think he missed him.
What do you reckon of Tanner Banks so far? He's
been great.
I've liked what I've seen.
He's been really good. In fact, I'll pull up the numbers for you. But I think that, again, this is obviously when we harken back to our last stream together at the trade deadline.
Yes.
I was very clearly disappointed with that move, but that was before the context. And upon knowing now, what we know, I think you would take Tanner Banks over Gregory Soto every single day. And on top of that, he's got a 2.81 ERA in 14
That's a big strikeout. That's a beauty.
He's been good. He's been real good. And I would much rather – the Phillies are laden with left-handers, but Alvarado and Strom have been guys that you're comfortable using against any handed kind of hitter. So
absolutely.
The Phillies, they kind of needed a loogie, a lefty-only guy. And they got one in Tanner Banks. He is majorly a lefty-only kind of pitcher.
This team is built for the postseason. The pitching's in place, the bullpen's in place, rotation. That front 4 is gonna. I genuinely think the pitching's gonna win it for us.
That's the other thing, though. The bullpen. This is probably the best bullpen we've seen in Philadelphia
And it was probably and can you believe 2021 was historically the worst ever bullpen in baseball?
People, I feel like we're not reacting to that enough because people look at somebody like Jose Alvarado, who has been complete and utter nails for the Phillies since joining the team, who now has struggled a little bit this year. But, fatigue is probably setting in a little bit. They've ridden him really hard over the last 2 years. But Alvarado is like the fifth best pitcher in this bullpen. You have Estevez, you have Hoffman, you have Strom. Okay, maybe fourth. Alvarado, Jose Ruiz, who's allowed 2 earned runs.
The Ruiz redemption.
Who's allowed 2 earned runs in 2 months, by the way. You have, just a litany. Tanner Banks has been great. Max Lazar has been pretty good. Like, you're looking at Spencer Turnbull's on the way back. You're probably going to have somebody like Ranger in the bullpen. Come the postseason. One of Ranger or Chris Sanchez is going to have to be in the bullpen.
I'll never forget Ranger Suarez closing out in 2022 for us to clinch to get in the World Series.
Exactly. So it's like this is probably the best bullpen the Phillies have had, if not ever, then in a long, long, long time. Because this is definitely better than 2008's bullpen.
I think this bullpen keeps us in those close games that we let go last year.
And don't get me wrong, Brad Lidge is, a remarkable reliever. But I would sooner, have this tandem because it was Brad Lidge and then what, like Ryan Madsen, like that was kind of and he was great in the postseason as well. Don't get me wrong, but like you've got 5 guys that you can conceivably turn to in really high leverage spots that can get you big outs, which is, it's a great club. I'm really, really excited.
So to answer your question, Pete, this team is.
Have you boys been talking about that question for 10 minutes while I was?
No.
We digressed somewhere. I don't know where we went.
But
we
that's
went
crazy.
some sort of hole.
I'm just thinking of this now. When was the last time a Phillies bullpen had 4 guys with? Well, I guess it's not 4. 3 guys with a sub-2 ERA. Because Estevez is close to that. Strom is close to that, and Hoffman's there.
What's Kirkering on?
Oh, that's a great point. I completely did not mention Orion.
So Alvarado probably is the best fifth right now because you got Kirkering.
Yeah, because Kirkering is
Hoffman,
probably
Strom.
Above. Yeah. Kirkering is, I'll tell you in a minute. My iPad will load the.
Phillies haven't allowed a run
really
in quite some time. Oh, Alex has killed his stream. There he is.
Kirkering blew it up.
I'm back now.
What was Kirkering?
Front row.
Uh-oh. It's just this sums up. This sums up the stream. Right.
Well,
that's it. And with that, Alex is glitched.
I was just looking then about as Alex was talking, I was thinking, okay, let me have a look. He's hyping this Phillies pen. Let's have a look what it's cooking.
It's not. The hype's real.
Mate, all I can see is sub-2 ERA arms. I'm like, holy smokes!
All throwing flames.
Unreal.
Throwing flames.
Rotation's looking sexy too. Nola's having a good year. Sanchez having a good year. Suarez.
Apart from last night. Last night Nola was.
Yeah, I know Nola.
That one's done. We're out the way with that Nola.
You get one of them every now and again with Nola, and they do happen against the Marlins a little bit for some reason. Like I feel like,
always against the Marlins.
Some reason in Lone Depot, I don't know, but Nola's legit. Wheeler's legit. Like those 4. I mean, that's all you need is 4. So
yeah. I mean,
you've got what you need.
We shouldn't need a 5th starter for the postseason, which would be the concern.
5th starters are for the regular season.
Exactly.
That's all.
And the good thing is we should have them for twice, possibly 3 more times this season.
You'll be all good.
I think we'll be good. I think we'll win the division. I think the division's.
100%.
Dare I say that? Not wrapped up yet, but if we can take the series off after Mets next week, I think we're all but there.
I'm proclaiming it, mate. I mean, the Phils, they had this division locked up months ago, it feels like. Are you worried about the Mets? Do you see the Mets as like the competition or the Bravos at this point?
I think the Mets just got they're riding a wave.
They're on fire,
can't seem to stay. Their schedule is now what we had at the beginning of the year.
Okay, yeah, when you had it was softball season for you guys early doors, wasn't it? But you got to beat them. You got
to beat what's in front of you. It's great to see the Braves plummet away like they have. That's been one of the best things.
I agree with that. That's been my favorite takeaway of this year is the Braves have been terrible.
Terrible.
Yeah, they're struggling. Yeah, they're one game back now. So
Yeah, the one game back and they're beating the Jays now, I think. But even still, I think the Jays are on the verge of winning that. If they win that, hey, here's Alex.
he's back. He isn't.
Oh, Alex, this.
Oh!
What's going on here? Alex,
you
all
see
you
it?
had to do was find out Kirk Kring's ERA.
Is he joining us from
I
Australia?
know,
What's going on
right?
here?
Can you guys see me? Is everything okay? My phone died, so I had to go to my iPad, and my iPad's been slow. Just a mess. It's been a mess all around.
Oh my days! This
Kirk
is the
Kring's
Marlins
ERA.
season. This is the Marlins season in a nutshell. This.
Orion Kirkering's ERA is a 2.13, so he's been
There you
great
go.
too.
There we go.
Anyway, I had to go anyway, but I wanted to make sure that I came and said goodbye. So, boys, it was wonderful. Thanks for having me. I love you
Still
both,
next time, Alex.
and I'll see you in the next one.
Love
Yeah.
you, love you,
Yeah.
Alex.
Love you, Pete. Bye.
See you, brother. What a
You
stud! What a stud! What a way to finish that
Keep
stream
the
there.
feeling.
That was glorious.
That sounds it. Who have we got here, Pete? Who's this Noah Syndergaard looking pitcher we've got
Yeah,
around here for the Marlins?
It won't stun you to say that it's probably his debut. I think it is his Marlins debut.
And there's the first strikeout then, of course.
Oh, there you go. Ah, that was a nice pitch then, wasn't it, actually?
You.
Nice. Oh, now my stream has died now watching the game. Boy, oh boy, what's going on? Anyway, it won't stun you to know this guy was like a waiver claim pickup. I think the Marlins, there you go. They're throwing the ball. They're keeping the ball, I think. I don't know. First strikeout for the Marlins. But,
Hang on, we've just gone to an advert.
well, there you go.
Oh, now we're back.
I'm watching a replay, but I think the Marlins are on the cusp, actually, of maybe breaking a record this year. And it's going to be the most amount of players.
You did it in game 2, I think. You did it in game
okay.
2 when you got drubbed and you were putting player pictures in. And
Oh, there we go.
it was
Yeah,
actually one of the best pictures you've had all year.
It's been, I mean, this is the Rays model, right? Like, I don't follow the Rays and haven't done, but from afar, you're like listening, going, okay, it's just like roster churn. You don't quite really know what that means, but like this year, and now I know what it means.
Now you're seeing it right in front of you. The Rays
Now I
model,
know.
the
There
thing
you
is,
go.
what-
69 players used this season, ties MLB record, Cubs 2021. There you go. So they've hit the big 69, which is nice.
69. We love a 69.
We do. Wow.
But that's, well,
Let me text Tara a minute.
yeah. The stream's just gone off.
It
Oh,
has.
that's
But do you see his first name? This guy, Lake. This is the first guy I've ever heard with the forename of Lake.
Lake.
Oh.
I didn't even think Buddy was a real name until I saw
No.
Buddy Kennedy.
Lake. How would you pronounce this one, by the way? I'd go with Bashar. What about you?
Bashar. I thought Bashar. As soon as I
Yeah,
saw
me
it, it's a Lake Bashar. What a great baseball name.
What a name. What a lid. What a tash. I mean, everything's going on.
And
here
another
this week.
strikeout.
I know you're probably 4 seconds ahead.
Oh,
of
my
me,
4 seconds ahead.
which
right,
is good. So I'm going to enjoy this pitch now. Where's it going? Bottom of the zone again. Oh, and again. He's filthy. This dude.
I tell you what, put him in. Put him in for all 9 innings for you.
He's filthy.
Oh, the pitchers for the Rays series. Home Sanchez, because it splits a wild home and away. Suarez
Okay.
and Wheeler, fancying that Rays series. Got it.
What have you got? A 4-game series against the Rays? Did you say?
3 against the Rays and
Three,
the
okay.
Mets. Then I think the Brewers, which is a massive series.
Man,
for
you've
that
got a
one.
tough stretch coming up then.
And then the Mets again. And then the
Wow.
Cubs and the Nats.
Okay, so have I written off the Mets too early then for this division? Like, I mean, if you're playing each other so frequently in September, then...
There's 7 games. Well, there could be 6 games back after this. And we've still got to play them at least 6 times. I think there's a
Wow.
4-game series in there somewhere. So if they won every game, they would definitely make it interesting.
It's going to cool off for them though, isn't it? Like, it has to.
Their pitching's good. Their offense still doesn't worry me that much. Pete, what are you drinking?
I got a nice Rioja off the rack, actually.
Oh, the special drink for the game.
I saw it was 10-0 and thought, okay. I'd normally go middle of the rack, on a Sunday evening. But I was like, I'm going top right. I'm going top right at this rack, baby.
Right, 10-0. You had a no hitter at the time.
10, but yeah, an Eddie Cabrera no hitter on the go. So You got to enjoy these, Dave. This has been a putrid season as a Marlins fan. Like, there's just been no joy. Like, when you start like 0-9, there's just no like.
Season's over before it's even started, isn't it? That's the
season. It's a 1-6-2 regular, and before the 10th game has been played, the season is already over. I mean, it's so miserable.
It's just demoralizing, isn't it?
And then you've got to do a podcast every day about it, and you think, "Oh my days!"
Yeah, it's coming to an end, Pete. The Locked On Marlins.
It is, mate. Yeah. Last month for me, this month. So I just couldn't. 3 seasons I've done every day covering the Marlins for Locked On. It's been great, but I need a break. I need a break from. I just haven't got 5 episodes a week
It's
in me.
full on, right?
I just haven't got it. I haven't got it through the off season. The regular season's okay, but the off season, October, November, December, Jan, Feb, March, 5 episodes, and the Marlins aren't going to do anything in off season. There's going to be no. This roster set. I can tell you now. We can fast forward to March. This is the same roster. We'll add a few bullpen arms, but.
So what do you do in that time? Just cover who's been where on vacation and.
I mean, there's
that's a grind.
A couple of fake news stories going out. Maybe the Marlins are interested in trading for Nick Castellanos. I don't know. You get some momentum going, but yeah, it's going to be tough to walk away from Locked On Marlins because the show's really grown in the past couple of years, and it's there's been 2 hosts of it now. Aram Layton, who's big name as well generally now, so he's gone on to bigger and better things. But I'm just retiring, so.
Oh, you got nothing in the pipeline. You got
nothing at the moment, mate. It's just a necessary breather, is how I describe it. And then we'll see what who knows what next year holds. The Marlins can't be any worse than they were this year. I mean, like I said, 10 games in, the season was cooked, and Bendix was like, "Okay, here we go. We can rebuild. We can blow this bad boy right up.
That's it. Knock it down."
I think so. But
who are the Marlins' first 10 games next year?
I know they've got the Pirates, the first series. That's all as far as I've looked. They're the Pirates this first series, but it's looking like it's going to be Sandy versus Skeens for opening day. So
that is a box office.
Yeah, that's a stunner, isn't it? Yeah,
the Pirates always start well, don't they? The Pirates first half, they always go off like a rocket ship.
Always out the blocks fast, aren't they? Every time. So yeah, that opening day matchup is a stunner. I mean. I know every opening day matchup in some ways is a stunner, right? Because everyone's got it's ace on ace. And so you look around the league and you go, oh, okay, Wheeler against whoever you've got. I don't know, Freed or whatever. But, Sandy Skeens. There's a lot of storylines in that one. Definitely. So should be fun.
Sandy needs a an injury-free, healthy year, doesn't he? More than anything.
Yeah. No,
because otherwise, it gets into a pitcher's head. If he keeps going down, keeps going on the IL, it plays into their head even when they come back. When you start feeling things aren't even there, don't you? It's so psychological.
I mean, I watch these guys throw baseballs and.
Is that Stubbsy pitching? It is Stubbsy pitching.
Stubbsy's in. Let's go.
Stubbsy's pitching. This is a complete role reversal of Tuesday.
It is. Oh, I see. And Conine's not going to let anything like.
You know what, Pete? Stubbsy's pitched so many times this season. They've now got his graphics up. This is his 4th game. ERA 21.08.
There we go. Hold on. Did you say 21.08 on the ERA then?
Yes, I did. Double. This is going to.
Oh. You're a couple of seconds ahead. So
I know. I remember I was trying to delay it.
So Noah's grounding out somewhere. Okay. Got to. Oof. Sanoa's got wheels, hasn't he? Boy, oh boy.
Yeah,
that's a routine ground. That's a routine double.
So is this his debut or his debut series?
Yeah, he's just been called up for this series. His
debut
was yesterday.
He's had 2 hits today. Well, that'd be a 4, so it'd be a 2. Yeah, still 2 hits today.
Yep. He had his first at bat yesterday. I think he grounded out and it forced a loose throw, I think, in yesterday's game. A throw at home. I think it was a grounder, and then they went home, and it was like an error with the throw. So, yes, Sanoa, I think the thing for him is strikeout percentage in AAA. And listen, I'm not a minor league guy. I don't follow tons of numbers, but the same with him. Like his strikeout percentage is like 5% or something. Like he's never strikes out by all accounts.
At any level, that's impressive.
Yeah, exactly. He's a young dude, and he's only small as well, isn't he? He's like, I don't know how tall he is, but 5'4" or something, maybe.
He's tight. I think Alex was saying he's one of the smallest players ever take to the plate.
Yeah,
Stubbs throwing flames here.
Yeah, Stubbs, he is. Well, Johnny Pareda looks like he's a bit round as well, doesn't he?
I was going to say this can't be too much fun for the players either. No one
Nah.
likes pitching against player pitchers.
No, I don't think so. That's got to be. It has to be a double play.
Stubbsy.
Stubbsy. Oh, look at his. He's still rocking the tash, isn't he, Stubbsy?
Of course he is. It's Mr. Vibes.
Definitely Hall & Oates vibes, I'd say, with Garrett Stubbs. I love it.
So Stubbsy and Stott are the only two players in this whole lineup that can do anything against the Marlins half the time.
I remember Stubbsy walking us off. Or
The walk, yeah.
remember that against Tanner Scott last year? Was that last year? I think it was.
No, he said it twice. No, Stott the Grand Slam was the notes one. It was the year before. Stubbs the year before. I'm pretty
Stubbsy.
sure.
Yeah, I remember us doing a pod straight after. I was like, Dave, you have to come on the pod now, and Stubbsy's launched one.
That's the emergency pod.
It was an emergency Garrett Stubbs pod for Locked On Marlins.
You're gonna miss it. You're gonna miss it, aren't you?
Yeah, I am gonna miss it. I definitely will miss it.
Years.
Yeah, I will definitely miss it. I'll miss it a lot in the regular. You know what I'll miss most will be the emergency pods. What you just talked about then, like those ones, are the ones that a lot of maybe new eyeballs come to, and you get people like tuning into the show. I remember the Miguel Rojas one when he was traded to the Dodgers, and it was an emergency pod. You hit it, and you come back and look at the viewing numbers. A normal there's a trickle, like the normal, I don't know, 400 or 500 an episode. All of a sudden, this one was just insane.
I remember you saying, it spiked completely.
And so I looked and I was like, okay, cool. Everyone was interested in this story. It was a big story, I guess, at the time. But you then look and you realize, okay, where's the viewing figures from? And you go and check out and whatever. And it's like, oh, actually, 80% of the viewers for this are in LA. And you're like, okay. So basically, a load of Dodgers fans are kind of tuning in going, well, who the hell's Miguel Rojas? And
yeah, what we picking up here?
I was probably slandering the life out of him. So, they probably weren't that enthused about Miguel Rojas at that point. But yeah, I will miss it, mate. But as you know, mate, the mic never gets put away. So if someone texts and says, let's do a show, man, I'm always ready to rock and roll.
We'll get you back on here, Pete. Hopefully for a closer, more competitive game. This turge.
Well, it's a shame, but it's fun. It's fun just to spit it anyway, mate, isn't it?
It's fun. Like the last one we did against the Jays, we got record numbers. We had over 1,500 views on Twitter. YouTube was great. It was a close game. We had Sophie on from the Blue Jays.
I know her, yeah.
And it was the best one we've done. Close stream. Everyone was invested. I think everyone logged out of here after the first inning, to be honest.
Oh, well, they're lost, mate. To be fair, I probably prefer listening to this rather than watching the game at this point. There's a lot of NFL on it, I guess, today. So,
That's what Alex was saying earlier. We're just happy to talk Phils for a bit. It's like the interaction last game was through the roof. Like comments coming out. We're getting through the comments. This has been dead since I think the fourth inning.
It's tough. It's tough when you're 10-0 down, isn't it?
We're grinding.
I think that's the thing with baseball in general, right? Where it's such a long season. There's so many hours, like man hours, that goes into following a team. Sometimes you get these little blips on a Sunday, and you're like, do you know what? They're 10-0 down. I don't think it's going to happen. I'm maybe going to use my time somewhere else.
I would have. I'm not going to lie. If I wasn't watching this.
I'm the same exactly where, I've got to be honest, priority level, I was thinking, okay, the NFL, do I want to watch something there?
Yeah, that's a point. Red zone.
The US Open, tennis finals on now. Just seeing Sinner's at least a setup, maybe two sets.
Sinner's going to win that, I think. Yeah.
So that's on right now too. Then you've got the Marlins versus the Phils. I mean,
box office,
baby.
Yeah.
Box office. By the way, this is the first time I've seen Bermudez pitch as well. So it's not his debut, but I haven't seen him pitch live yet. So let's see what's cooking here for him. It should be a tough matchup here for Schwab's.
Schwarber's been on fire. Schwarber's so streaky, but when he's hot, he is one of the best players in baseball.
Yeah, he is.
He's frightening.
He's undervalued, mate. Everyone looks at WAR and goes, one WAR dude.
96 walks, which is the most in the NL. The next nearest, Brandon Nimmo, is on 73. And there's a hit.
I can't stand Brandon Nimmo, by the way.
No.
I can't stand anything about him.
Well, so we can all unite. Marlins and Phillies fans can unite. We can't stand. And running to first base on a walk.
I can't stand
my
that.
head in.
I'm same. He's trolling, isn't he, now? He has to be trolling at this point.
Full well. So I just can't stand him. Kyle Schwarber's got the third most home runs in the National League as he's been pulled from the game. 93 RBIs is now the 4th best in the National League. He's having a bit of a career. Yeah, his average is good. It's 247.
I mean, if you get Schwarber delivering what he delivers with a 250 average as well, then this is the point. Like, you got a stud. Everyone's got, well, he's hitting 200, and
that's our leadoff. He's been outstanding. He's been absolutely outstanding, Carl. Probably near enough the player of the season, actually, on the with the bat. Harper's just been too injured and hit and miss. Everyone else, Bone probably maybe would have had a shout if it wasn't for his injury and him cooling off. Turner's been consistent, but again injured. Kyle's played. Him and Cassidy, the ones that have played the full season, I think, pretty much.
Man, it feels like the injuries have been like just league wide, just being brutal this year. I don't know. Just everyone's always dinged up.
Like Souza's just gone on the IL. Bowman, of course, on the IL. Bryce, I think they would have put Bryce on the IL, but Bowman and Souza have now taken the spots. We can't really have Bryce out. Maybe if Bowman comes back, I think if the Phils wrap up the NL East soonish, they may shut down Bryce till the postseason because he keeps saying he's playing hurt.
Yeah. What's his problem?
Sore elbow, sore wrist.
Oh, okay.
Thigh, calves, back.
I feel it, mate. I mean, you play tennis every day. I'm telling you, you feel it there too. Like elbow, shoulder, knees. We're too old.
The only problem with Bryce is his swing is so explosive.
It is.
Like it is. And putting him to first base has been great because he's been great defensively, far better than we ever expected. As a hello, 2 on, no outs.
Oh,
come back.
Okay, there we go. Let's see this pitch then. I know something's going to happen.
Oh, sorry, I keep doing it.
Yeah, solid walk. By the way, just on Bryce, and just to kind of link this into the Marlins somehow, it's a loose connection at best.
I'm intrigued how you do this.
Yeah, this is a loose connection, but the guy they took in the first round, the draft this year, a guy called PJ Morlando. Never heard of him before, but I mean, I haven't heard of anyone this year.
I don't even know your teammate.
Or me, mate. And I do a pod about him 5 days a week. I still don't even know who's on this roster. But PJ Morlando, he's a high school dude. I think old high school dude. I think he's 19 already. But he is Bryce in terms of like when you look at what he's done and his swing and the way it is Bryce Harper. So for those listening,
showman mentality to him,
and that too. But like the actual approach swing is Bryce Harper. Plus, there's a bit of swag as well. So for anyone that's tuning in, I mean, there's maybe 1 or 2 that remain in this stream. And search PJ Morlando. Go and have a look and let me know what you think. How close is it to Bryce Harper's swing? Because for me, when I saw it the first time, I was like, hey, firstly, okay, this guy looks fun, but this looks like Bryce. The Marlins have taken Bryce.
And Bryce has that swing. I was just in a replay of there, the one in the last inning that he should have gone for. But it's just that uppercut, that explosion of power, which for his back is no good. He'll be although his last 7 games, he's hitting 308 average, 2 RBIs. It's just when it matters, actually. With nobody on base, Bryce is just a hitting machine. But since as soon as we get a runner on, he's been frozen a little bit. Like I said, 1 home run in his last 30 games, and his longest home run drought of his career. He is playing hurt. He's vocalized it.
I feel like Judge as well has had a bit of a slump. I mean, it's not a 30-game slump for Judge, but 10-game slump for him. Home run issues. So interesting, mate. Just on Bryce as well. When I think back to this season, just that image, mate, in London.
Oh, the slide!
So unreal, isn't it?
That made one of the many highlights of that whole weekend.
Mate,
Bryce Harper slide.
You were grinding that weekend.
Oh, yes! Is that an RBI as well? Oh, sorry, I'm ahead. Oh, sorry, Pete.
I'm ready for it, though.
It's a run! It's a run! It's an RBI for Bryce.
There we go.
Hurt or not, Bryce Harper.
Straight up the shoot. Hey, but just want to call out, by the way, no outs.
No outs. No. 1 run, 2 on base.
Oh, my days. Here we go.
Can you imagine it? I tell you what, I always think back to when the Mets scored 9 in the 9th inning against us to beat us and come back. No. That still haunts me.
Mate,
it always makes me think it can be done. Although
it can be.
Tends to stretch.
I'm pretty convinced that the viewer count has just risen at least by 50% in the last 30 seconds. Like everyone's
well, Twitter-wise, we're on 933.
There we go.
So we're all right. We're
Twitter's still tuning in. Mel
Twitter's still on.
Stoudemire out. Mel Stoudemire out to settle him down. Bermudez. I don't know. I don't even know if Bermudez speaks English, to be honest with you. So I'm not sure what Mel Stoudemire is saying to him.
Throw strikes.
I,
Strikes a pretty universal language.
usually, it's a good message. Oh, they're warming someone up. Okay.
Who was that warming up?
I have no idea.
On our screen.
Mike Bauman. I think he got lit up last night, didn't he? Mike
Yeah,
Bauman?
Bauman was one of the few pictures we got to last night.
Yeah.
Oh, his command's horrible.
Well, there's still time here.
Cal Stevenson. Again, he's had a really good AAA, Cal.
Okay.
Up for patching the holes in the Phillies injuries right now is Cal.
Yeah, it feels like you got a few injuries at the moment, so just
Yeah,
gotta work through it.
The thing is, sort of any later in September, I'll be worried, but this sort of we're still okay.
Yeah.
Bone should be back next week for the Mets series, crucially. Souza's only temporary, I hope. JT keeps getting banged up, keeps getting hurt, which is a concern, but he's missed pretty much all this series.
Yeah, that's the. I always felt that with JT was like at some point because he never took a day off. Like
Steele doesn't now.
No,
although since the injury around the All-Star, they've been careful with him coming back.
Mm-hmm.
But even still, like he's just played 7 games straight before the injury in this.
That's
series.
what I mean. He's just an animal, isn't he? And at some point, as a catcher, like it's just going to catch up on you, literally. Like
it is. And to be fair, he has shown signs of that this year. The regressions just starting to creep in. It's probably, I'd say, as Cal's out. So there's the one out. Breathe easy, Marlins fans.
There we go. And he didn't tag up, so okay.
That could be the. So where are we in the lineup? We've had so many. Oh, Bryson Stott. Bryson Stott again is another good series against the Marlins. He just loves playing the Marlins. He's had another hit today. I think he's on 9 hits this series, something crazy like that. I had all these notes written down for this. Waste of time.
Season versus Miami hitting over 400. So he's liking it.
Mental.
I guess we're probably watching
Grand Slam, of course, in the wild card last year against you, which forever brings back memories.
Yeah, the Phils fully handled the Marlins in that series too. Like it was like, men against boys. It felt like.
The Phils turn it on when they need to, and I think again when postseason rolls around, full crowds at the bank, which it has been all year. But when the intensity is there, I think they'll deliver. I need that bye week for the Phils so bad. Yeah,
what's your thoughts on that? Because there's a lot of like discourse around that last year around the bye's bad, and you end up cooling off. But
no, the bye was bad for the Dodgers because they usually have the division wrapped up by early September, and they take their foot off.
Yeah,
the Braves were the same the last couple of years. Division was wrapped up way before the postseason, and the Astros, when they won it in 2022, they had the bye. The Rangers, didn't they have the bye last year? I don't think they went through the wild card, so I think they had a bye as well. So I don't believe as that. Oh, it's an out. They're not going to tag up. So no, I want the bye. They need the bye. The 2022, the Phils run out of legs completely. Although you can't blame them because the effort they put in was unbelievable. The D-backs as well. It just felt like we ran out of legs. We ran out of steam.
Yeah.
They look mentally tired. Harper needs the rest. JT needs the rest. The pitchers need the rest. You take the rest. And I think Phils will be playing high intensity to into September, trying to lock up that bye week anyway. Because us and the Brewers, I think, will go into the last week, certainly pretty close. Possibly even us and the Dodgers for the number 1 seed.
Yeah, it's going to be close.
We're still even on now. So it's high intensity till the end. And then I think that week off will come at the right time. Just checked in. Well, thanks for checking in. It's been rough. It's been rough. This is the final out. 2 on, 2 out.
2 on, 2 outs. Yeah, here we go. Ooh.
Who's is it Cody? Cody Clemens?
Yeah.
Big fan favorite, Cody Clemens.
He looks like he's got eyeliner on, has he?
Do you know what? I thought this sometimes. It's just not something you bring up in case you get slammed on Twitter for.
You know me, mate. I'll take on any subject these days.
Cody's been a great bench bat, good defensively, steps up when you need him, and hopefully he will now as well. Philly can't stand success. Hey, look.
Oh,
when it matters.
There we go.
Which is not that.
Mudez at him. There we go. The Marlins get a 10.
How did your stream catch up?
I caught up, yeah.
How was that? You were
I
about 10
don't-
seconds behind at one point.
I don't know, but I've got the lights flashing in the background
Yeah,
now. It's all
yeah,
kicking
same.
off. Let's go. How about the fish? 10. To be fair, considering they got spanked, what, 16-2 on Friday?
So we worked out, although we've got an extra run here, that we scored 27 runs in that 4 games, and I think you scored 24.
There you go.
So the Phillies win it 20. It's a split, but we won 27-24. What a wild series, Pete. Never a dull moment in this series.
That's why I love Philly series. They're always my favorites, to be honest. Like the Phils for scoring and the Bravos, just because there's always extra spice with the Marlins Bravos now with like the Acuna history and stuff. But I always love the Philly series. It's always a run fest.
It's always drama. So many times after a blowout, teams lose steam. We do, and then me and Alex called it on the steam. As soon as we won that game 2 and absolutely smashed you, we knew this was something else was gonna follow on. But look, it's September. The Mets, we've got 6 games against the Mets at least. The Brewers are coming up. They're the ones that really matter. I'd rather get blown out in these games than to the teams that it's going to really hurt us and count against us. Well, Pete, 10-1. Congratulations, buddy. Marlins have our number yet again. And I think, dare I say, you've got the series, the season series as well.
No way.
Do you know what? I'm pretty sure there's...
Wow.
Unless we did you at the start of the year. I can't remember, but I think, again, it's been close, whatever. Like, it always is. Well,
That would stun me. That would stun me if that was to be correct, but it wouldn't.
It's not far off.
Yeah, it must be close, yeah.
So to the 948 of you who watched on Twitter, thank you to the YouTube viewers as well. And then people getting involved. It's a slog. It was nothing like the Jays game. Pete, thanks for joining us. Alex, for earlier on, thank you for joining us as well. That game was done in 2 hours 20, eh?
More wine.
More wine. That's it. Yeah, it's still some sort of Sunday night left. Thank you for watching, guys. We'll see you for the Mets game next Saturday or Sunday. That's when it really matters. That's a big one.